Junior scores. And now the ball gets away from Garcia in right field, and Michael Garcia will end up at third base, and the Royals lead 5-3. It's going to be a run. And he does get the bunt down, and Milner scoops with his glove, and Higashioka didn't catch it.
Thursday edition of The Zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels, heading up until 2 o'clock. The next 4 hours, we've got you. An hour from now, we will talk with Matt Lane, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. We'll play some clips and hear from the Chiefs coming up in the noon hour. Andy Reid talked about 30 minutes ago. Nick Bolton as well. Sports or leisure in the 1 o'clock hour.
Fact.
NBA Finals coming up tonight. 7:30, 7 o'clock pregame right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Game 6. We'll see if there is a Game 7. The Sterling stamp said Game 7, that there would be a Game 7 here. You stamped it after Game 5.
No, I stamped it, I think, before the series started.
Game 4?
The fact or fiction was before the series started.
Yeah, you're going to have to go back
Remember
and prove that.
Pull tape. Before the series started or Game 1, I said it's going 7 games.
Yeah,
the Sterling stamp last night was close. I said Royals win 5-3.
What did they
win?
win?
They won 6-3, so I was
wrong.
wrong.
So you're wrong.
I saw the pitcher not being a dumbass for the Rangers on that John Rave bunt.
You were rooting for Garcia to be thrown out at home, weren't you?
Part of me was, just because I was like, I'm going to get this. This is going to be pretty cool. I would have felt pretty good about myself.
You know, it was a really good and bad from that pitcher because he got there, and I thought there was no chance. Once he got the bunt down, not directly back to the pitcher like Garcia in India against the White Sox. Garcia right back to the pitcher, and India's really awesome slide at third. By the way, Jonathan India, learn how to slide into third. But John Rave gets the bunt down, and it's more to the first base side. I'm like, oh, Garcia's easy safe.
Yeah.
The pitcher got there. He got there so fast that he had time to actually take his right hand into his glove and then toss it to the catcher. Instead, he tried to glove shovel it, which ended up on the first base side and low, and there wasn't an ability to scoop and then tag for Michael Garcia. Because it took him the amount of time. When he fielded it, he also then had to pull his arm back and then toss it. It wasn't one of those second basemen where they scoop it, and while scooping, they toss it to first with their glove, shovel it in the one motion. It was 2 different motions. And all he had to do was, go in with his right hand and toss it. If he had it to do over again, I bet he would do that. But anyway, it benefited the Royals and us because you didn't get it right. So the Royals win 6-3 last night. Estevez has his American League leading 20th save on the season. And Cruz comes in for the 8th inning, which I think is an interesting development of what he can be if he doesn't necessarily have to be the 8th inning guy. But if he pitches like that, it goes back to what they probably were planning on Hunter Harvey being, because Urseg could bounce into the 7th inning and face the heart of the lineup of a different team. Harvey goes down. It takes a little bit of that away because who do you trust in the 8th if you have to bring in Urseg in the 7th or maybe the 6th? And they put Cruz out there. Let's see what he looks like in a leverage situation like this. And he went out there and he looked good. And then he handed over to Estevez, and the Royals get a win, 6-3, and they've won back-to-back games. And Dylan, clip number 3 here, I think Major League taught us something about what happens when you win a couple of games.
All right, you guys, let's listen up. We won a game yesterday, and if we win one today, that's 2 in a row. We win one tomorrow, that's called a winning streak. It has happened before.
They can get a winning streak started today. A winning streak. It's happened before. The Royals have had a winning streak. Okay, it has happened before. So let's see some muscle out there. I have a feeling things are going to turn around for us.
think the Steven Cruz aspect is very interesting, fascinating, and I think it's legit.
Could be a really, really positive development for this Royals team, depending on if they ever or when get Hunter Harvey back.
Because I don't think this is just we've seen guys have good stretches. We've seen James MacArthur look like a stud before. We saw stretches from Jorge Lopez, and he actually ended up having a better career once he left, and Carlos Hernandez, right? We saw flashes from Hernandez that made us believe that he could be a piece like this. But Steven Cruz has movement on that 99, 100-mile-an-hour fastball. That slider and cutter combo have been fairly devastating. He does not quite get as many strikeouts as you'd like, but it's not bad. It's 9. It's 1-1. It's 28 innings, 28 strikeouts. It's not that situation where it's, how's he thrown 28 innings and has 16 strikeouts with that good of stuff? No, you just expect it to be slightly more. He's still in the 74th percentile in strikeout percentage. I just think he's great stuff. All the underlying numbers, take a drink, are phenomenal.
Well, when you started talking about that, I figured you were going to underlying numbers.
So thanks for having that ready.
I knew exactly where my drink was.
Expected ERA, 96th percentile in Major League Baseball. Expected batting average, 96th percentile in Major League Baseball. The expected batting average against him is 195, right? No one barrels him up, 92nd percentile. He doesn't walk a lot of guys for a guy with that explosive of stuff. That's also an aspect of Steven Cruz that's very interesting and very unlike Carlos Hernandez. Right? I'm not trying to pick on him, but it feels like the comp of those two guys are very similar, right? Because I think they all expected him to be like this. So I'm all bought into Steven Cruz. Do I think he's going to have a 1.93 ERA the rest of his career, even this season? Maybe not. But I don't think you're seeing a 3-5 or 4 inning coming on the horizon. I think this is more or less what he is, a damn good, I do think now, back of the game arm.
Well, and I think part of somebody like Steven Cruz is seeing a team multiple times. You know, we talked about it with Noah Cameron. Noah Cameron's looked good. What does he do when he sees a team a second time? And Steven Cruz, he had not back-to-back because there was the cancellation, but he had 2 games against the Cardinals. First game, he goes out there an inning and 2/3, strikes out 2. No hits, no walks. Then he sees him again after the postponed game. 2 innings, 1 hit, 4 strikeouts. That's when he was like on. That's when it was like, all right, this guy, you know, because they needed Zerpa and Cruz to go out there because I think something happened in the first game with like Noah Cameron and maybe not pitch. I don't remember the whole details of that. We haven't ever talked about it. But Steven Cruz went out there and did his job. Like we talked about, you got to go do your job. Taylor Clark, he needed to go and do his job in the first game. He didn't do his job. So whether you take Noah Cameron out early, late, whatever, guys got to do their job. So that was the second time he saw the Cardinals, and he saw different guys. He saw the same guys again. So those guys had a view of Steven Cruz already. So it's not like, well, this is the first time I've seen him, and then you see him again a month later. They saw him 48 hours later. And he goes 2 innings and gets 4 strikeouts and only 1 base runner. So that wasn't, that was, to me, as impressive because of also what he looked like doing it, because the Cardinals had seen his pitches and movement. Athletics, he faces them back-to-back nights. Rough first night.
Yeah.
Gives up 2 hits, a walk, gets a couple of strikeouts, but gives up a run. Next night, an inning, no base runners. And then the last 2 nights, he's pitched against the Rangers. He pitched the 9th inning on Tuesday night and pitched the 8th inning last night, and he's given up a total of 1 base runner. Now, he only faced Berger both times. It's the only guy he faced. He retired him both times. So it wasn't like he went through, you know, Simeon, Seager, shouldn't even throw in Simeon.
Yeah, Wyatt Langford.
Yeah, just Langford and Seager. Let's go with that. It wasn't like he went through Langford and Seager, you know, both nights and retired him both times. It was Jake Berger, the only one he saw twice. But I don't know, is he available today? Maybe. He might be in a pinch if you need him to be available today.
11 pitches last night.
Right, and that's sort of like that's how efficient he was. And he gets the strikeout on Evan Carter and a great fastball. And it's like what we've talked about, that he is what they were hoping Carlos Hernandez would develop into. And he's already that to me. Like, he's already a level that I don't think Carlos Hernandez ever ascended to. And maybe I'm just not thinking of some 10 or 11 outing stretch for Hernandez that he looked awesome. Maybe that was the case, and the Royals were so bad that I didn't put much weight into it. Whereas Steven Cruz is pitching when the Royals are trying to win and make the playoffs and win a wild card, and he's pitching in some important moments. Because that was a big game last night. You lose that one, you get into a rubber match. And for whatever reason, this team does not perform well in rubber matches. It's too much of a trend and a sample size for us to say it's random. Baseball is very random. So, third games of series when they're tied 1-1, dating back to the beginning of last year, they are not good. And that even goes into the divisional series. They were tied 1-1. They lost the next game. Now, they ended up losing Game 4 as well, which is why it was so big that they won the first two games against the Orioles. They didn't have to worry about a Game 3 in the wild card. And they don't have to worry about a Game 3 today in terms of winning the series. But you can go to Texas and you can sweep a team that you were chasing in the wild card. And that's part of, like, you know, they were 2 games behind the Rangers starting Tuesday morning. You lose the series, you're 3 games back. You get swept, you're 5 games back of a team that you're chasing. They're tied with the Rangers right now. There were 5 teams or 6 teams ahead of them. Well, I guess, 5 teams because the last wild card spot. There were 6 teams ahead of them with the last wild card spot, and now they're tied with the Rangers. You win today. I mean, that's a statement by this team since the quote-unquote players-only meeting. They lost the next game, but they've gone out there and they performed well in these last 2 games, and they've scored 12 total runs. Now, what do those games have in common, Sterling?
Extra base hits, Jason.
2 things. Exactly
Okay.
right. No, 3 things.
Sorry.
No, 3 things. No, that's one of them. That's absolutely one of them. I think there's 3 things that they have in common. Hitting the slugging stands out. They've hit 4 home runs, so that stands out. Runners in scoring position. In these 2 games combined, they're 5 of 13. Can we have one of the interns do this for us? Can they go back starting on Sunday and look at every game? You could just go to Baseball Reference and look at the schedule results and click on each game going back, and then it'll show you runners in scoring position right below the Royals lineup. Just go back and see how many games starting from Sunday did they have 5 hits with runners in scoring position. Starting from how many games before that did they total 5? So on Sunday, I think they were 0 for something. Mm-hmm. On Saturday, I think they may have gotten 1.
Sure.
On Friday, but against the Yankees in that 3-game series, we know they had like 1 hit. Correct. With runners in scoring position. So how many games before these last 2 did it take them to get 5 hits with runners in scoring position? I actually want to know that. I should have done that this morning.
All of them.
But
all of the games.
What's the point of having interns if we can't have them do a little research for us,
Yes.
So quickly, Baseball Reference, click Royals, click schedule results, scroll down, start working from the Athletics game back, and just click right, scroll real quick. You'll see runners in scoring position right below the lineup for the Royals. And then just tell me when it adds up to 5. 5 of 13 in these 2 games. So those are 2. And the third one, so you got slug, you got runners in scoring position, and the third key that we've seen, 1 through 5 in the lineup. Yeah. It wasn't how we talked about, you got Isbell's playing pretty well. Oh, you got Waters is swinging the bat pretty well. Like, we were focusing so much on the bottom of the lineup because we were just simply assuming the top was going to turn around. And the bottom was sort of helping you, and the top was going to get there, but the bottom's helping you. The bottom is so much less important to this team because they didn't have a very good bottom of the lineup last year either, okay? They were very much top-heavy with their lineup. And I am not saying that the bottom of the lineup is immaterial to whether or not they make the postseason. It is if, 1 through 5 keeps performing like this, which I think is absolutely impossible for them to do. But on every night, on a given night, every single night out there. But 1 through 5 in these 2 games combined 13 for 39, which is a .333 average, 4 home runs, 2 doubles, a triple, and 11 of the 12 RBIs. The only other RBI was John Rave's bunt last night that you hated because it took away your Sterling stamp. Those are the 3 things, Sterling. It's the slug, runners in scoring position, 1 through 5 coming through and getting it done. The heart of the order, the heart of what this team is going to be, if they're going to advance, if they're going to make the postseason, has to be India, Bobby, Vinny, Michael, Salvi, and let's hope soon we're throwing Jack into that conversation and we can say 1 through 6.
I liked the day off for Jack last night.
Absolutely.
One, it was obviously you had a lefty on the mound with Patrick Corbin.
That's fine, yeah.
But two, he had been going through a little bit of a slump, and let him refresh. I know Mark Canna's not going to get the job done necessarily, but
Canna, no, not right now.
he cannot.
No, he cannot.
So
do it.
I was okay with the off day for Jack. I saw some people upset
100%.
by it,
Why?
but
No.
but I think Jack's best point yesterday was you have to have the big three or the top of the lineup. And you're right. We've been complaining so much about the bottom and guys who I don't want to say are immaterial, but guys that are just guys.
Yeah.
Like
They're Jags.
they're
or sometimes lesser
Fermin
than.
and Waters and Lofton and Rave and Canna and Kevin Biggio, and then it was Hunter Renfroe, and it was MJ Melendez, and you want to improve those spots, and Waters did improve those spots, and Lofton has improved over Kevin Biggio, which is nice, but that's not going to take you from brutal offense to great offense.
Mm-hmm.
It's just incremental. You got to have your big parts pull their weight, and there's a lot of weight between Vinny and Salvi, and they're starting to pull that weight now. It's nice.
I like how you said that.
It's
literally or figuratively?
both. That was a combo. Because there's some big dudes.
Yeah. And Salvi, there is a lot of weight to him.
There's a lot of weight, and you got to pull it, and he's getting behind it.
I don't want
It's
him to
like
pull
James.
anything.
It's like James Harrison pushing that sled at age like 49. Where you're like, what are you doing, man?
Salvi has been pulling the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, although I shouldn't say that. He had a home run to the right side.
He
had 3 home runs, 2 to the left side, and 1 was opposite field.
So between him and Michael and Michael, by the way,
Dude.
my goodness, man, just consistently
He'd better be
doing
an
what
all-star.
he's doing.
It's going to be so annoying if he does not get picked for the All-Star team this year. It's going to be very frustrating.
But I do think one of the catalysts that was a little under-talked about, and I know myself as well, I slightly would bring it up, and then I'd almost push back because you didn't want to blame Bobby.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't want to put the weight on Bobby when 7 other guys were struggling in the lineup.
Heavy as the head.
But Bobby was not doing what we had expected for Bobby to do. You're sitting here going, well, he's got an 800 OPS, and we're sitting here going, that's really good. But he's an MVP caliber player. But now we're starting to see Bobby really turn it around. We're starting to see Bobby pull the ball more. We're starting to see Bobby hit the ball a lot harder in the defense, and obviously
5 plate
Speeder,
appearances, he gets on twice.
Stain. I'm glad to see Bobby turn it around so we don't have to have that hard conversation of MVP could have been last year if Judge wasn't that. And we saw a little regression this year. It made me a little sad. Was that the peak of Bobby? And I think the answer is no. He went through a stretch of not great offensive baseball that never affected the defense. But we're starting to see that really turn back around.
Since Sunday against the Athletics, he's had 13 plate appearances. He's got on base 6 times. Against the Rangers alone, it's been 9 plate appearances, and he's gotten on base 4 times.
Nice.
3 hits and a walk. Not to mention, you've got 2 doubles and a home run mixed in there.
Correct. The slug for this team last night, 7 hits, 3 extra base hits. The night before, what was it, 4 extra base hits on 7 hits? Whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, again, this is what we're talking about. Slug matters so much in today's day and age, especially for this Royals team.
All right, so we have the answer to how many games before Tuesday did it take for them to get 5 hits and runners in scoring position? Because the last 2 nights, they're 5 of 13. So how many games was it for them to get the 5 hits?
Wait.
I heard an wait.
heard an
It was 7 for 18
7 for 18 was what?
with runners in scoring position
From when?
since Sunday.
No, I want to know, dating from Sunday. We'll get to it.
We'll get there. Okay.
Starting with the A's.
Who's on first?
Starting with the A's game and going back to that series, so Sunday, Saturday, Friday, and how many games did it take for them to get to at least 5 hits with runners in scoring position?
We're going back to the drawing board.
By the way, that's got to be the cuts tomorrow.
That's a good one.
Got to be on the cuts tomorrow. You know what?
Good job, Emmy.
Let's see.
You'll earn that J at some point. Keep that up.
Big J journalism, you know? By the way, I'm going to be able to, I think I'm who's going to win on the air live with me or them doing it behind the scenes. So we've got Royals 2 for 5 against the A's on Sunday. There's 2. Then we got Royals 0 for 4 on Saturday.
Not going to move the needle.
Nope, still 2. Then we've got Royals 2 for 5. So there's 4.
You're at 4 for 14 right now. Not bad.
But that's fine, but it's 4. I'm just looking for how many you get to 5. 0 for 5.
Oh, it's going to bring that down 4 for 19.
On Thursday. Then you got 0 for 5 against the Yankees.
Ooh, you're at 4
on
for
Wednesday.
24 now.
So that's 5 games now. Then you got, well, I think they'll have 1. Oh, nope, 0 for 7 against the Yankees. That's now 6 games.
That's 4 for 31 now.
And then the White Sox, they were 3 for 12.
Okay.
So it took, 7 games for them to get at least 5 hits with runners in scoring position?
7 for 43, I think, is what that breaks down to.
So it took them 7 games. See how quick that was? 7 games for them to have 5 hits at least with runners in scoring position, and the Royals have 5 in the last 2 nights.
Do you know what that breaks down to?
What does it break down to?
163 with runners in scoring position.
What is it from 5 of 13? Is that like 4 something? 440?
I was going to say 429. You said, what was it now?
5 of 13.
5. No, it won't be that high. 385.
Like I said, 440 or 385.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Not too shabby. Not too shabby.
Hey, you know what?
What?
I'll take it.
I will take it too. If they, you know what? If the Royals every 2 games go 5 of 13 with runners in scoring position and they hit 4 home runs, 2 doubles, and a triple, I feel good about them and scoring 6 runs a game.
How about this?
What?
Ever since game 72, what was it? 72 games?
Yeah, since game 72.
The Royals are averaging 6 runs a game.
Right.
At least 3 extra base hits a game.
And they're batting almost 400 with runners in scoring position.
I think this is going to continue.
So here's the thing.
Although Fermin has been caught stealing too many times for my liking.
Although the first 72 games, India had a brutal slide into third, and since then he's had a brutal slide into third. I would be pissed if I was the Rangers. I would be pissed. Did that not seem obvious to anybody? That he was off the bag? I know somebody texted and was like, his heel never left the bag. The view from the third base line.
We were owed one.
I don't disagree with that.
We were owed one.
I don't disagree with that.
From when it actually mattered.
The Rangers probably give a bleep about whether we were owed one
I
or
know.
not.
I'm being a jackass.
But from the outfield view towards home, his heel clearly was off the bag. So you could piece it together. You could piece from third base looking.
Why do you
at
hate the Royals?
No, I'm just saying I hate India slides to third. That's what I hate. I hate Jonathan India sliding to third because either he slides past the bag on a force out to where his feet are past the bag when his hand finally touches it.
Yeah.
Or he slides and has his feet come off the bag and slides to the other side of it. Now, replay, we've had these conversations before. We sort of think the spirit of the rule.
Yes.
Versus it's like going 56 and a 55, but it is technically the rule if you were off the base.
But it's not the spirit of the rule. Like Shadur Sanders going 101, I get that.
Yeah, in a 60.
In a 60?
If he was going 61 and a 60, I wouldn't have cited him.
No.
It wouldn't have been a citation from
69 and a 60, that's the, well.
9 you're fine, 10 you're mine.
Well, I'll tell you what, you probably shouldn't be driving if that's what you're doing. Probably pull over, maybe, or it's a cardigan. But if you're going
Thanks for noticing that.
9 miles an hour is my limit.
9 you're fine, 10 you're mine.
Yes, 60. If it's 55, you can go 64.
Can't drive.
55. I literally can't. It took it off my car.
It only goes 54 and 56.
Yeah, I took it off. I said, this is dumb. In honor of you, Sammy Hagar, Cabo Wabo.
Yeah, it feels like being above the base but not touching it while you've already touched it seems a little strictly by the letter of the law, but also it is the rule. It's like strictly by the letter of the law, like he barely moved his shoulder. Well, that's a balk.
He's over the line. There are rules, dude.
There are rules. Like, when he came set, he barely moved his shoulder. Okay, it's a balk. Well, he was barely off the bag. Okay, he's out. Like, that's the rule. So, here's the thing. Complaining about replay or just India slide into third correctly. It's been twice in less than a week. It was last Friday, that he couldn't slide into third on the sacrifice bunt. Well, actually, it was 2 weeks, right? Because it was the Chicago White Sox game, which was 2 Fridays ago, because the A's, I get my bad baseball teams that the Royals lost to mixed up. The A's were this past week in White Sox. So it's in 12 days, 2 bad slides into third in 12 days. One of them may have cost him a game. The other one, the call stood, and maybe his gloves in his back pocket kind of blocked whether or not, was that the heel? But again, you take the view from the third baseline looking from the outfield, his heel is it's a distance enough to where you go, yeah, I pieced that together. His heel, as soon as it passes the base, is off the base, and the glove is still on him. That's an out. I'd be mad, and I think Royals fans would be going, this is BS. That's ridiculous. We got screwed again, which to Dylan's point, they have had the short end of the stick a number of times with the replays, especially last year. So they were probably owed one from a karmic standpoint, and Jonathan India gets away with one to be like, it's like the Alex Alicia from the Louisville Cardinals. He had the boot at shortstop, and then he scored the winning run after giving up the 2 runs with the air. He got away with one. Last night, Arkansas left fielder, Arkansas shortstop, Arkansas first baseman.
You talking about the dive in left field from
the slip?
Yeah, well,
he slipped, and then because he was slipping, then he had to dive. But also, it shouldn't have come to that.
Nope.
Because the first baseman and the shortstop.
Yeah, the first baseman is escaping a lot of blame.
What in the hell was he doing?
That is, you throw it to the base as the first baseman. It's usually the pitcher that doesn't trust that you're going to lead him, and then he messes that up, but he completely threw it behind him.
Does he not know that they have a second baseman?
That too.
What did he think that they were playing a shift? Like he looked like he was a third baseman on the left side whose play is to cut in front of the shortstop if you can get there.
Yeah.
That's what he was doing on the right side. He got there and cut in front of the second baseman. If the second baseman got there with just a few steps to his left, you have made a huge mistake. I have made a huge mistake, okay?
Big mistake.
There's a lot of money.
Huge.
There's always money in the banana stand, and you don't need to go that far off of second base or first base, because when you do, look how far that throw was. Plus, then, as you said, you've got to throw it to the base and let the pitcher go and adjust. You can't throw it behind him. You can throw it in front of him or to him or even a little high, but do not throw him behind him or low.
It's like a quarterback throwing a crossing route.
Right.
It really is.
The 2 places you can't throw, low or behind him.
Yep.
You cannot do that. He threw behind. You can't throw low. You can't throw it behind him. Throw it a little bit high if you have to. Pitcher can then catch it and then look down and get his feet. Throw it ahead of him. He can speed up. But you can't throw it behind him and low. Also, don't play second base if you're the first baseman. And shortstop, you're up by 2.
And last thing, too, this is maybe the highest level of college. Do we have to have the circle of meeting for the losing team on the field? Is there a locker room or something that the losing team can go to? Like those poor kids and the cameras are just they're like sharks to water
crawling.
or blood in the water for sharks because it's like.
Sorry.
He's crying, and they're just panning
crawling,
all 3 of the guys that made errors. Like, he's crying now. It's like, just get these kids off the field. They don't need to stand out there while the coach gives the last year, last speech of the year. Like, they can do that in the locker room.
Yeah.
I would hope. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I don't.
I think I combined crying and bawling, so he was crawling.
Yeah.
He was kind of crawling after the ball hit him in the shoulder and ricocheted away, and the 2 runs scored. And then the second baseman did everything he could to bail guys out by leaping, and that ball tipping off the top of his glove. I mean, that was almost just an absolute amazing play for them to be able to go into extras and see if Arkansas could figure it out. But
not by years, but by moments. Is that maybe one of the biggest curses in sports that isn't talked about is Arkansas championship for baseball?
It's a good call.
Dropping of a sure out to end it, and then last night, I mean, three
different plays and
three
the dropping
Buckner
of a sure
plays,
out to end
level plays in one game.
And that left field was a sure out. But and what do we teach people all the time? First step back. His first step was back, and then when he planted to come in, when he read it, he slipped.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unfortunate.
Great call, though, Dylan.
It's unfortunate that it hits his shoulder and goes directly right and is the farthest away from him in the corner of the wall.
I mean, you're right,
I thought
though.
for a chance it was going to be an inside the park or a 4-base error.
I thought it was over.
If
he doesn't grab that cleanly, it might be.
Yeah, I have no idea how the guy only got to second
on
that one.
That too.
I thought, well, that guy's going to be at third. But, yeah, this...
Esky would have scored.
Yeah. It was a little bit... It reminds me of that slip. It reminds me of Omar Infante. And
yeah.
the Kung Fu Panda in Game 7,
Yep.
that it was the ground ball to second base in an easy play, and as he went to throw, his back foot slipped. And then Kung Fu Panda beats out the throw because his back foot slipped and the missed the dew. And that ends up being the winning run. It ends up being that run came around to score, and it should have been an out because he slipped.
Arkansas baseball, Bills in Super Bowls.
Yep. Red Sox with
Cubs.
the curse. Oh, wait.
It was the Cubs.
But it was Red Sox and Cubs.
Now
you're
it's
right.
Yeah.
Cleveland. Cleveland baseball might
Yeah.
be
Are they cursed, though? Is it just because of the mistake by the lake? Or
Yeah, I don't know. That's
That
good
whole,
call.
that whole city.
I don't
But
know.
Cleveland football. I mean,
just
because
Cleveland. I'm just saying
of the,
Cleveland.
Yeah, in the Super Bowl era. Cleveland
Yeah.
football in the Super Bowl era.
No, the city. I'm just saying their whole.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, just the city.
That makes sense. Yeah, touche.
Yeah.
But yeah, like we said, the Royals top of the lineup. And runners in scoring position. We'll talk with Matt Lane coming up at 11 o'clock. We will hear from the Chiefs coming up at noon with Andy Reid and Nick Bolton. We got sports or leisure today. And we'll talk a little bit more about some Royals baseball. They got a chance to sweep the Rangers this afternoon, 1:35. Michael Wacha on the mound taking on Sean Armstrong. Game 6 tonight in the NBA Finals. And we'll talk about the Kansas City Chiefs and some things that have come out the last couple of days in terms of different views around the Chiefs. We'll also hear from Steve Spagnuolo, a couple of clips we never got to last week when Spags was on New Heights, but they are certainly worthy, especially with
Especially Xavier.
well, now, with the man that talked today and Nick Bolton, but I see what you went with Worthy, especially with the man that talked today and Nick Bolton. So we'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll continue rolling More Zone next. Hanging out here on this Thursday edition of The Zone. Jason Anderson, Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels. We'll talk with Matt Lane coming up at 11 o'clock. KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. We do know what the College World Series will be. It'll be the Chanticleers, Coastal Carolina, the CCC, Triple C's versus LSU trying to win another national championship. SEC going for 6 straight College World Series.
Just means more.
By the way, Coastal Carolina has a little UConn basketball in them. And what I mean by that is, Jim Calhoun, at one point in his career, before the Hashim Thabit team that knocked off Mizzou, Jim Calhoun was, 3 for 3 Final Fours in national championships? Like the opposite of Tom Izzo. Tom Izzo will win 4 games, sometimes 5. But he'll win 6 games once. But, man, he will get you 4 wins. It felt like Calhoun was like, man, we've made it here. We might as well win it. They just simply got to the Final Four, and they won it. They didn't get to the Final Four every year, but when they got there, they won it. And Coastal Carolina's been to the College World Series now twice. They won it in 2016, and they are now playing in the finals again. So both times they've been to the College World Series, they've played in the College World Series final series. They went 5-2 in 2016, and they're 3-0 now. They are 8-2 in Omaha. Coastal Carolina is. You know how many programs that are good baseball programs that in their history have never won a total of 8 games in Omaha? Just 8 games. I'm not talking about make a College World Series final. Just win 8 games. Go to the College World Series 8 times, win 1 game, you won 8 games. They've got 8 wins in their 2 trips to Omaha.
I'm
Coastal
assuming
Carolina.
Missouri has not done that.
No. I don't know how many games Missouri won when they won their baseball championship with Norm Stewart at second base. I actually don't know how many they won.
A while ago.
Yeah, I don't know how many games it took to do that. But getting to Omaha would be cool. I don't know. I think this new Missouri coach, Tony Vitello, I think he's going to get it rolling for them maybe one day. I don't know.
Hopefully.
Arkansas fans are now asking for to fire their coach and go get Vitello. So
nice. Yeah. By the way, I can see why baseball players or people in general want to go to Coastal Carolina. That is a prime location.
Fighting Tyler
gorgeous.
Thigpens.
I mean, you're right next to Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, it's Myrtle Beach.
Dude.
Yeah, dude. That is awesome. I didn't know it was like
That's why
right
their
there.
that's kind of why their football team as well has kind of come on strong lately. I mean, it's kind of a nice spot. I'm sure there's some money down there now.
Well, it's like
it's the team you're kind of talking about yesterday where they just, Coastal Carolina's good at football now.
I mean, Coastal Carolina.
And baseball.
If they're going to be spending money and you got the NIL, you've got the transfer portal.
Right.
I mean, look what Murray State was able to do.
Dog, you're on a beach.
Yeah. Look what Kansas was able to. And I know Coastal Carolina, Kansas is a little bit different when it comes to the money, but Kansas spent all last season and said, transfer portal. I mean, they had almost an entire new team, and they just said, let's go get bats. Let's mash our way to maybe a Big 12 championship, maybe a postseason berth. And they did. The bats, when you went up against stud pitchers in a regional, you went up against everybody's Friday starter, Friday or Saturday.
Right.
It's a little tougher,
And Kansas
but you got there.
Kansas is like, hey, okay, so we're not Coastal Carolina where we have the ocean and Myrtle Beach right here, but can we interest you in Lake Lotawana?
We do have wheat.
Yeah.
Do you like wheat?
We have Lawrence Free State beer.
Do you like
Okay.
the plains?
Missouri guy here. I will acquiesce.
Acquiesce then.
Lawrence Free State has some absurdly good beer. Hell of a name, by the way.
Like
Great name.
Lawrence Free State, the high school?
But the
Has
Yakamaniac,
good beer?
the Yakamaniac
Wow.
IPA,
That's how they do it in Lawrence. Good for them, man.
Yakamaniac IPA may be my favorite beer. So I'll say that's it's impressive. I'll give Lawrence that. Hey,
Let's
credit
hope-
to me for being unbiased here.
Let's hope the Chiefs with Rasheed Rice, Xavier Worthy, and Jalen Royals are Yakamaniacs. Am I right?
You know what? That'd be a good partnership.
Oh, dude, it would be the Chiefs' wide receiving core being Yakamaniacs with that beer.
Okay, I'm going to tweet that and take that from you now.
Yeah, it's like the Lumberjack.
Well, I mean, got to be quicker.
By the way, Rex called him the Lumberjack the other day. Rex Hudler.
So he listens.
Yeah, clearly.
Hey, Rex.
Because there's nobody else in the history of the world that could have possibly thought of Jack Caglione and a Lumberjack. We're the only ones that would think of
Hudler,
that.
you got to go on this show.
It's the Lumberjack. I heard it when I was listening to The Zone.
You got to come on the show.
You do, Rex. You do. It's an open invite. It's an open invite to Denny. Ding, ding. It's an open invite. Constantly.
We have Denny on all the time.
That's a good point. He does join us quite often, randomly, just randomly. It's still my dream one time we got to figure out how to do it, to have Ryan on the air and to have like this phone over here to where then I can say, Ryan, got a special guest that's joining us that, it's the first time we've done this, but Ryan, say hello here and then pick up the phone. Ding, ding. Hey, Ryan, how you doing? Like, oh, hey, and see if he thinks it's actually,
because
it would be
so
on the phone.
good.
So I would put the phone up to my ear and the phone would be on.
Yes.
So I put the phone up to my ear. Dylan would turn my mic off so that it didn't pick up both.
Yeah.
And then it would sound like he was on the phone and to see if Ryan would then have a conversation with Denny. Ding, ding. I want that to happen one day.
That would be really good.
I have to figure it out.
We're on. We are the idea people.
Is that right? That's what everybody says. Yes, that's the reputation of the show, is the idea people.
We are.
That was actually the first thought of naming the show, was idea people.
You're in the zone of idea people.
Patent lawyer's dream over here.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then I wanted to be more in the marketing part of it, which is, hey, man, you hear the zone a lot. Royals baseball, they talk about the zone all the time. In the zone, out of the zone, it's the zone. The teams are playing zone defense. You got this zone, you got that zone, 4-3.
Be great in Syracuse.
I mean, right? That 2-3 zone, a lot of zone. I'm like, oh, the zone, it's such a generic name. Yeah, that you hear constantly every time you're watching sports. And so when you do that, I don't know, maybe you think of this show. It's called marketing, but whatever. Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels, Jason Anderson with you. We'll play some sports or leisure coming up at 1 o'clock. Matt Lane comes up at 11 o'clock. We need to take a timeout. We'll catch up a little bit. We'll talk with Matt Lane, some football, the mandatory mini camp wrapping up. They did have their conditioning test this morning, right? Weren't we? We were told that like the meetings and the conditioning stuff was canceled, but that didn't sound like Andy Reid to cancel conditioning stuff. That did not sound like.
He was setting the trap.
Yes, that's right. Guys, don't worry, conditioning's canceled.
All the young,
gotcha.
Oh, yeah.
Young guys are like, wait, really, Andy? No, you idiot. Get on the line.
You fool. Now you're running double.
The only people I think that believe that
dumb.
were the rookies
We're
or
the
first-timers. Yeah.
Younger. It's like, oh. Or Kareem
Everyone
Hunt.
else is like, okay, I'll be in bed at 8:30 tonight then.
Might have been Kareem Hunt. Because Kareem Hunt hasn't been in this spot with the
That's
Chiefs
true.
since 2018.
Wow.
So Kareem Hunt, like, wow, he's really changed. He canceled the gassers? This is awesome. Kareem, you dumb. Oh, a schooner is a sailboat, and now you're running double gassers. Sorry about that. We'll take a timeout. More Zone next. We'll get into how one camp battle can affect another camp battle. We'll explain that. We'll also
Punters.
Yeah, that's right. How punting
Hey,
can affect the holding, which
there's
actually
a little
is,
bit of a
yeah, but that's sort of the same thing. That's two different jobs. I think there's a camp battle that affects a completely different position, and so we'll talk with
Gardner
Matt Lane.
Minshew.
Yes, that's right. Because then you could put Patrick Mahomes at tight end.
Yeah, of course.
Because they need a tight end on this team. You know, they've got a guy who's really fallen off. Pete Prisco says that that Travis Kelce sucks. He's like only the fifth best tight end in the NFL now. Matt Lane next. All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Hour number 2. Happy Juneteenth, everybody out there. We had up until 2 o'clock. We will hear from the Chiefs coming up at noon. Andy Reid, Nick Bolton talked today. Play some clips from that, what Nick Bolton had to say. Also, play some clips from Spags that we did not get around to. Meant to play it, but he had a really interesting conversation with New Heights last week that, boy, there was some stuff that came out of that about the defense and about, specifically Nick Bolton that we'll get into and play. And, of course, Sports or Leisure coming up later on today as well. Right now, we talk some Chiefs football. Matt Lane, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast, joining us here in the zone. Matt, what is up, brother? How are you, sir?
We're doing pretty good. We're, we got some football things adjacent happening. So that's a good time. We're in the middle of the NBA Finals. It's a pretty good little stretch here of sports. Still.
You know what? And you got Craig back on the show. How about that? Huh?
That is true.
Big time. So there you go. Everything's coming together. It's all happening. Like the gym, it's all happening, which is great. It's awesome. I love watching you. I love watching you and Kent, but throwing in Craig in the mix too. It's fun. It reminds me of the old days, right?
It's better with Craig's there, and the Chiefs didn't win a Super Bowl when Craig was not
Good
there.
Good call. It's his
they
fault.
Have won Super Bowls when he has been there. So really, it is kind of his fault.
What an AH! Let's let him know that it's his fault. Wow, we finally figured out what the problem was. It's Craig. Oh, man. Glad we got to the bottom of that.
Craig.
Glad we got to the bottom of that. Well, I'm going to put my entire life savings and mortgage and house on the Chiefs winning another Super Bowl. Hold on. As long as he's committed to staying through the season. So that's a big deal. I need to know that he's going to be there through the season if I'm going to do that. Matt Lane is our guest, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. All right, so minicamp is done. Phase 3 is done. We've got this break until whenever they decide to announce the training camp dates, because announcing the training camp dates right now would apparently cause some sort of a mass confusion for everybody, and the world would stop spinning on its axis.
It'd open up a black hole in the
100%, dude. We would be sucked in. It would cats and dogs living together, pretty much the worst parts of the Bible, if they were to announce 1 month away from when the dates are going to be. But so we've got like a 4-week break. We'll obviously when training camp hits, but what I wanted to pick your brain on and get your thoughts on, with phase 3 done, training camp is getting ready to is the next thing. What's the camp battle? Maybe let's take away left tackle. Let's do that. Let's take away left tackle, because that is the obvious one, right? Left tackle is the number one camp battle that everybody would be looking at. Which other position should we be gearing up for come training camp that we'll be focusing on and spotlighting as those practices and preseason games go along?
Yeah, that's it. Obviously the left tackle is going to be the biggest one, and we can go beyond that. I think the next one that I'm focused on is the third cornerback, defensive back spot.
Okay.
And it's weird because it's not going to be, I don't think, a direct competition between two guys trying to play the same position necessarily, whereas I think it's going to be a little bit more, can Christian Fulton come in and earn a spot in the rotation as a boundary as an outside cornerback, which would allow Trent McDuffie to go back and play in the slot when the Chiefs go to nickel? Or has Shamari Connor gotten more comfortable playing in the slot? Have they gotten more comfortable with him out there in that role, which is going to keep McDuffie on the outside? I'm just really intrigued who the Chiefs' first 3 corners are going to be, because I think last year we saw a lot of the difficulties that they faced when Connor was having to play in the slot. That didn't seem like his most natural position. It clearly was a step back from when McDuffie was there, but they had nobody else they felt comfortable with slotting in on the outside, especially once Jalen Watson got injured. So, yeah, I'm just really intrigued how the slot corner spot gets figured out, whether that's McDuffie going back there or Shamari Connor staying there. And I think it kind of boils down to how quickly and healthy can Christian Fulton be once the regular season starts.
Yeah, it's a great point. It's one of the things that we were going to talk about later on this hour, so I'm glad you brought it up, because you and I can talk about it. Then we'll get Sterling's opinion and see how wrong he is about it. I'm joking, Sterling. Sterling was sitting down right here, so I'm just joking, Sterling. He can defend
Rude.
himself. I know, that's my fault.
Rude.
It's my fault. Sterling makes good points every 5 days, and he hasn't had one this week, so this will be the day that he makes
Yes,
a good point.
I am due, baby.
You were like the top of the lineup for the Royals.
You
were due, baby.
Due.
But to that point, Matt, if it's like the health of Watson and the performance of Fulton, Those two spots and players, the Chiefs can be better at two positions this year than what they were last year because we know wherever McDuffie plays, he's going to be good. So if Watson plays and is healthy and Fulton is good enough, neither of them will improve what McDuffie was on the outside. But the opposite McDuffie, that was a revolving door with Williams and Nazi, and sometimes CRW that was out there, but mainly like, the slot corner. You mentioned Shamari, Roland Wallace in there as well, that if Fulton plays a representative cornerback and Watson is healthy and continues to play at the level he can, you get better at the opposite side of the cornerback of what McDuffie was last year, and you get, to me, like head and shoulders, steps, levels better at the slot corner than what you were last year. It was a problem. It was an issue last year in the slot corner and opposite Trent McDuffie. It's one thing to have a great cornerback like McDuffie, but if you've got two other spots out there at cornerback that are subpar, you're going to get picked on, and it's going to affect how many sacks you can get as well. I think that position that you hit on is vital for this team because if they can do that, Matt, it improves McDuffie playing the slot and the defensive line allowing more time to get pressure on the quarterback and more sacks. I think it's one of the biggest keys to the entire defense this year is Watson and Fulton, or somebody else stepping up. Maybe that's Josh or Noel Williams or Nazi stepping up and playing that to a above average level.
For sure, and it became an issue down the stretch last year where when the Chiefs had to get, a Nazi Johnson or Josh Williams on the field at the same time as Shamari Connor, you just had too many spots that were exploitable by the opposing offense, and it became very difficult for the Chiefs to run their coverage schemes that they wanted to run, not only just from guys maybe not executing or playing as well as they needed to, but also, the amount of blown coverages that I think we saw more so from the guys playing on the outside in place of Watson once he got hurt, but still there was a fair amount of blown coverages on the outside or bad passing off of wide receiver route combos. So it wasn't a great spot. And then even once Watson returned in the playoffs, he was clearly working back from a significant injury, and I don't think he looked the same to start the year. So as somebody who's kind of buying the Jalen Watson Kool-Aid last year, I thought he was playing excellent before the injury. I think going through this offseason, coming back healthy, he should be in a spot again this upcoming year to pick up where he left off pre-injury last year. And so you get that guy plus Trent McDuffie, and then, if you can get Christian Fulton would be my preferred way to go to play at his best level, which, to be fair, we haven't seen consistently in the NFL. There's been flashes for both the Titans and the Chargers, but the Chargers didn't play, I would say, a ton of press coverage, which is probably where Fulton's better at. So we'll see how he plays out. I think the Chiefs really need to angle to get McDuffie back in the slot. He's clearly a game changer from there. And then now that you lose Justin Reed, getting another playmaker to play the middle of the field, something that I think they did struggle with last year. It was Justin Reed, and then, yes, Nick Bolton has flashes. Yes, we like what Hicks showed us, but I wouldn't say anybody else is a significant playmaker in the pass game over the middle of the field. So getting McDuffie back to be in that area of the field, I think, would go a long way. Or the other option, like we kind of hinted earlier, is Shamari Connor just takes a step forward. Last year was his first year playing full-time in the slot. Maybe he gets more comfortable with that, and he can go back and play a little bit quicker, be a little bit faster in his reaction. It's just somebody's got to step up in that cornerback room, and whether it's Fulton, whether it's Noel Williams, whether it's Joshua Williams, whether it's Shamari Connor, whoever it is, somebody needs to step up and help those guys out and just so they can shuffle it around and not feel like they have to protect so many guys at once.
I've talked about this with Shamari Connor. I would love to see him put into the, Steve Spagnuolo Joker role and just be that guy that Spags can move in different places and be around the ball at times, and if he's got to cover at times. And I think, there's it's that domino effect. If, from last year, Watson was injured, and McDuffie was on the outside. So you had Connor that then was playing the slot and wasn't as good as McDuffie. And you had Williams and Nazi on the other side that wasn't as good as Watson. And therefore, when Shamari Connor is playing the slot, whoever might be playing the Joker at that time, maybe not as good as what you could have got and what you got the year before when Shamari Connor was being moved around in different places, when it was Snead on the outside with Watson and then McDuffie playing the slot. It's that trickle down, that domino effect that if Fulton and Watson can man the outside, well, now you get better at one corner. McDuffie at the slot is an all-pro slot, not a Pro Bowler. not a Pro Bowler, but an All-Pro. Okay, I think he's going to bust out this year and be a Pro Bowler. I have a feeling that finally McDuffie makes a Pro Bowl. So he's a stud slot corner. And Shamari Connor being a guy that isn't just relegated to, hey, you need to cover. You're going to cover this guy, that he can do a lot of different things and move around. And then given what Jaden Hicks can do, I think you've got 3 or 4 spots that all of a sudden you're improved at from what you were a year before, and that's just because of guys in different positions. And the key might simply be Watson and Fulton.
Yeah, and that's the spot I would hope. I mean, I'm not even opposed to seeing Shamari Connor just play true safety.
Yeah,
Obviously,
that's fine
he
too.
has the versatility to move around, but I thought 2 years ago, like when he was a rookie and he had to fill in for Brian Cook a little bit. I'm thinking back to the that Buffalo Bills playoff game that year. He made some plays as with just a normal deep safety. Like, yeah, he has the ability to step down in the box or the ability to drop into the slot and cover tight ends or bigger slot wide receivers. That's what you like about him. The issues I think you run into is when you put him in a ton of space against smaller, shiftier guys, he looks like a safety trying to play in coverage. And so I am okay with Connor being a versatile piece that moves around. I think he's good in that role. Or if the Chiefs don't see Brian Cook as a long-term answer at safety, maybe Connor starts getting more reps as, I know they bring in Mike Edwards, but maybe Connor gets some more reps as their quote-unquote like true third safety, and we see what he can do there. So, yeah, they have some versatility there. I think it's all dependent on if Fulton can come in, hit the ground running, and really step in. I think that's the clearest path to getting the best collection of talent and like matching the athleticism and the traits to their correct position is Fulton and Watson playing on the outside while McDuffie plays in the slot.
And I think we saw the Chiefs tell us, who they think is the better player. One, Watson playing as the season went along until that injury against San Francisco, but then missing 11 games and then coming back in the postseason against the Texans and playing 60% of the snaps and then 70 and then 100% of the snaps on defense. Like, that guy missed 11 weeks with a broken tibia and fibula. And, Pacheco broke his fibula, and we saw him come back, and we're like, maybe he's not as explosive. Did he come back too early, to try to help out the running game? Are the Chiefs banking on him being more explosive this year and not coming back mid-season and maybe a couple 3 weeks? If we say that about Pacheco, well, you also had Watson that broke his tibia along with what, Isaiah Pacheco broke. And cornerback is a spot that, you need some explosiveness. You need to be able to stop and start and jump and run at the cornerback spot. And they trusted him enough coming off that injury to where, he ends up playing 100% of the snaps in the Super Bowl, 70% of the snaps right before that in the AFC Championship game against Buffalo. It showed what they thought of him at the beginning of the year when he was healthy, but also he may not have been 100%, and they still said, yeah, but he's our best option. Even not at 100%, he's still the guy we're putting out there. So if he's 100%, I think it's pretty obvious what they think of him.
Absolutely. I mean, he's even going back to his rookie season, right? They got him out there as soon as they could. And I know he had been rotating. Him and Joshua Williams had been rotating. And then Najee Johnson gets hurt that second season, so he couldn't really factor into it as much. But it seemed like Watson was the guy that they felt the most comfortable with. And I think it was because he kind of understood the defense a little bit faster than the other, obviously, the non-Trent McDuffie rookies from that same draft class. They feel comfortable calling all their stuff with him. You don't see Jalen Watson blow coverages the way I think we have seen some of those other younger corners blow coverages. So what he might lack in elite athleticism compared to a Joshua Williams or a Najee Johnson, he makes up for just with his IQ, the ability to just be consistently assignment sound. And then I think we've seen his press technique has just continued to go up and up. And that is something that Spags and Dave Merritt are going to routinely lean on. If you can get physical with the wide receiver and disrupt them at the line of scrimmage, you are going to play snaps for the Chiefs on the outside, right? That's something that they like. They use it with Jerry Sneed. They used it going back to Fenton, even going back to Sean Smith before Spags got here. They like that style of corner on the outside. So I just think that, they're going to continue to lean into him there on the outside. They clearly see him, I think, as their number 2 corner. Maybe Fulton can come in and surpass him because there is a lot of talent there if we go back to his LSU days. But we haven't seen it yet. So I think Watson's pretty comfortably in there, and it's just a matter of who is going to step up to join McDuffie and Watson as the year progresses.
Matt Lane is our guest, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. What level do you think this defense can get to compared to the NFL? Can they be a top 5 defensive unit this year if, things fall into place? If we talk about, Watson and Fulton are good and healthy and McDuffie slides back to the slot, can they get back to being a top 5 unit this year? What level do you think they can play at?
Top 5. To me, top 5 seems like a little bit lofty. Not impossible, but lofty. And the reason I come down to that is outside of Chris Jones and then Trent McDuffie to some degree, especially if he's playing in the slot, I don't think you have a ton of playmakers. You don't have guys that are going to create your significant negative plays, right? They're missing a cohort to Chris Jones, the pass rusher. They don't have a clear-cut number 2, a guy that can help, take over the game on his own. They don't have a corner besides McDuffie, again, or a safety that's just going to create a bunch of chaos and constant turnovers. And I know, 2 years back, they were up there in one of the better defenses, playoff-wise all time, but then a great top 5 defense. But it was just a combination of everything, I think, hitting at once. And losing the Snead play from that year, I don't think you'll get again. So top 5 seems a little lofty because I do think they are missing just a little bit of the top end on the defense. But if you get the right combination in the secondary and Spags really gets to open up that playbook in a way that I don't think he got to last year, I definitely think top 10 is very feasible. And maybe even in the middle of the top 10, maybe 6th, 7th, 8th, just because they can do so many different things. They don't have any glaring weaknesses. But I don't know about top 5 just because I would have loved to seen another star pass rusher at some point acquired to go next to Chris Jones if we're chasing that high of a defense.
Depending on what happens with the offense, let's say the offense is somewhere between 22 and 24. So, 24, middle of the pack, 15, 2022, they were number 1 in the NFL in offense and efficiency and all of that stuff. Let's say they're somewhere between their 9 or 10 in offense. And obviously being where they were last year, they still made the Super Bowl. What level do you think the defense plays at to where you're confident and go, look, they're the best team in the league and they're the favorites to win the Super Bowl, favorites to go back to the Super Bowl again from the AFC? Doesn't mean that will happen. But let's say we have improvement from the offense this year. We see that with this team. Doesn't have to be 2022, but certainly not 2024. What level does the defense play at? What around the top 10 would you look at and go, no, if they do this and you get that from the offense, this is the best team in the AFC?
So if the Chiefs' offense is fringe top 10, I think they would probably for me to think that they are going to be playing like the best team in the NFL. If the offense is just fringe top 10, I think the defense would have to be in that top 5 range. They would have to kind of be pushing up into maybe you could be just outside, because at the end of the day, even if the Chiefs' offense is 9th, 10th best in the NFL, however you want to rank that, they still have Patrick Holmes, who's going to win a lot of games in the late fourth quarter and crunch time. So if you're a good offense, not a great one, but a good offense with the best clutch time quarterback plus a top 10 bordering on top 5 defense, you can definitely make a push to be the best team. I think this year, though, I think the Chiefs' offense needs to probably, for me to feel the most comfortable, I think the Chiefs' offense will have to outperform whatever the defense is. It feels to me like they're shifting back towards a, not offensive first, but a team that's kind of skewed a little bit more towards their offensive talent than their defensive talent for at least this season.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, and I'm also with you with if they're the best team in the league in the AFC, the offense is outperforming the defense because there's an expected level that I think the defense will play at with Spags and the players that they have, assuming health. And the offense surpasses that and gets back to what they were closer to 2022. Yeah, then I think this team's going to be really good. Matt Lane, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. I think they're already going to be really good, but number 1 in the NFL or maybe number 2 in the NFL, but number 1 in the AFC if the Eagles continue to play at their level. Part of that is going to be Josh Simmons. And when we had you on a couple of weeks ago, you had it at 49% of Josh Simmons starting against the Chargers in week 1. And, right there, but still, if we said pass fail, Matt, you would have been a no. It would have been I'm gonna lean no, but it's close. Andy Reid said today, and we've seen since then, the OTAs last week, the mandatory minicamp this week, and Andy Reid said today that he was asked, Josh Simmons, will he be ready for training camp like full go? And Andy Reid said, yes, he'll be a full go at training camp. So I know last night you increased it in your Josh Simmons. Hearing Andy Reid an hour ago or 2 hours ago say that he expects Josh Simmons to be ready and playing as not limited in training camp when he gets there, do you increase the percentage even more?
So, yeah, that's good news. Right? First of all, that's great news that Josh Simmons has just kind of like steadily been increasing his participation. Now it sounds like he's been a full participant for this like mandatory part of camp here, and now he is going to be a full go when the pads come on for training camp. So like, this is all fantastic, great news. I had already been operating just on everything we heard that he was more likely than not going to get to be early on in training camp, be a full participant. Just the way they were talking coming out of rookie camp to the voluntary camp, it seemed like he was a little ahead of schedule, and the expectation that I kind of had in the back of my mind without saying it out loud was he was going to be a participant, a full participant at some point in time early on in training camp. So I don't think that hearing Andy Reid declaring him officially going to be able to, be a full go changes my percentage. But like I said last night when we were doing the KC Laboratory podcast, I had already bumped Simmons up to 57% as my week one starter. Like I think we're going to the pass grade now. I think we are
so
firmly
yes.
in the
yes.
I think he starts week one.
Yeah,
I think he's there. It's close. Like it's still close. Jalen Moore could come back and just simply be better. That's a possibility. But if Simmons is able to play, able to participate in camp and practice and everything from the get-go, I think he's just a more talented player. And right now, he's getting experience with the Chiefs that Jalen Moore is not getting because he's been a limited player. He's been doing individual stuff, but he hasn't been participating in team stuff. So while he's the veteran, Simmons has more reps playing on this Chiefs offensive line, at least during walkthroughs. So I don't know. I'm leaning Simmons right now, I think.
Yeah, I'm moving more and more up to set. Look, hearing Andy Reid today say that Simmons and Rice, first day of training camp, would be full participants. I think that's significant to hear that. We kind of expected Rice because of what he was looking like and how quick he looked. And, we don't really get to see some of that when the offensive line is not wearing pads. And you don't get to see sort of the drive and, anchoring and some of that stuff because of the non-contact things that you have in these mandatory mini camps. But if they view it to a degree that he's a full participant day one, then that increases, to me, the chance of Josh Simmons being a starter. And Jalen Moore, he said, would be fine as well. But the Chiefs typically take it easier on guys if they're injured. We've seen that in the past. But I will point out that while Jalen Moore has not really been a participant the last couple of weeks, Jalen Royals left practice early last week with holding his hamstring, and he returned this week. So while they do take it easy on some guys, if you're ready to go, they'll still play you. Like, they're going to have you out there if you can play. So Jalen Moore, sitting on the side, to me is not just we're being extra cautious, and he had something happen a couple weeks ago, so we're not even going to risk it, because Jalen Royals was out there this week, and that guy left practice early with a hamstring last week.
Yeah, I'm definitely not concerned about where Jalen Moore's at right now. A veteran guy, been around, he's gone through camps. Like, I'm assuming that he will be ready come training camp, right? Yeah. Like, that's not – my concern definitely isn't like a long-term thing, but it is – I think it's notable that Simmons has been essentially, for all intents and purposes, taking all of the team walkthrough type reps that they're doing. Again, no pads, no full contact. It's not real, quote-unquote, football yet. But Simmons is still the guy taking all those team reps while Jalen Moore isn't. They have not gotten him to the point to where he's able to do that. So I wouldn't say Moore is necessarily starting from a deficit, but it's a little bit closer to an even playing field than it maybe would typically be if you have a veteran coming to a new team and a rookie coming in. So as we start to stack them up and they're starting from closer to even footing, again, Moore is a veteran, so he's got to have a small edge. But I don't know. Yeah, those pads come on in camp, the way Simmons has been progressing right now and that talent, it is going to be, I think, a very difficult task for Jalen Moore to hold him off for very long. I don't think we see a Creed Humphrey situation where just day one, Josh Simmons is the starting left tackle and never looks back. But if we think back to Trey Smith during that same training camp, it only took a couple practices, one or two practices before he started working in. And
That's
so
right.
that might be the angle we go.
Matt Lane is our guest. All right, last one for you. And it's I just mentioned Jalen Royals, so it popped into my head. So I want to ask you this. Getting you on record right now, a month before. If you're guessing at the end of the season, who has better numbers this year? Is it Juju or Jalen Royals?
Oh, boy. That's a question right there, huh?
Yeah, I know.
Okay, I'm going to go with Juju.
Oh, you're so wrong. You're so wrong, Matt. I'll give you a chance to change your answer. Go.
I'm going to go with Jalen Smith-Schuster. No,
Juju Royals.
The only reason is just because it sounds like Rashee Rice is healthy, and if
Yeah.
there's no suspension coming down, I think it's easier to play Rice and Smith-Schuster together just because of the experience within the system than it will be for Royals. I feel like Royals as a rookie is very much if Rice can't play this week or if Rice is missing time, here's where we can easily factor him in just as a rookie. So I think that veteran presence paired with Rashee Rice being healthy is the reason I make that leap.
Yeah, I'm going to talk with Sterling about this and Dylan as well and get his thoughts on it. So I'll give away my answer right here. I agree with you, even though I joked about you're wrong. I agree with you from the standpoint that I think it would be better for the Chiefs, oddly enough, if Juju has better numbers than Jalen, because I think if Jalen Royals has better numbers than Juju, then something happened with Rashee Rice. And Jalen Royals is now forced to play more of the Rashee Rice role. Now, if Rashee Rice is healthy and playing that way and Jalen Royals has better numbers than Juju, hey, that might be best case scenario, right? Because then you're getting both of those guys that can play that level. But I just think Jalen Royals being what could be like, a quote-unquote clone of Rashee Rice, they've got Rashee Rice, and he's 2 years in the system. This is his third year in the system as opposed to Jalen Royals. Juju, this is his third year in the system with two different stints with the Chiefs that I think Juju would probably, even if maybe it's not better numbers, if it's just like more playing time, right? Like this guy's getting more reps out there as opposed to Royals, that maybe Royals has better production because, he might be just, naturally talented in Juju Smith-Schuster's old age of like 26 or 27, which is crazy to think about. But, we'll see. That's my preview answer of what we'll get into on the other side. Matt, you're the man. KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. I appreciate you as always, man. We'll catch up in a couple of weeks, and then I think our conversation after that will pretty much be Chiefs either there or close to St. Joe.
Well, it's coming, yeah. If they ever announce, the date at it.
I'd have to go back and look. Like, when did they announce it last year? Like, what date did they announce that the date was whatever for training camp? We know this. We know Andy Reid said the 3-day mini camp before training camp will be canceled this year. So the rookies and quarterbacks and injured players will not be there 3 days before the veterans. So that is now gone. We found that out. That's interesting, I would say, because usually those rookies get a little bit of a head start over the veterans by being there in St. Joe, a few days before to sort of get acclimated and work directly with the coaches that often. And now that's no longer the case. So we'll see.
We shall see.
Yep. Matt, you're the man. Appreciate it as always, brother. We'll be listening, watching, reading, all of that stuff, and looking forward to our next conversation, man.
Thank you guys so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Absolutely. You too. There's Matt Lane, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. Let's take a time out. We'll come back. Let's talk about that. Let's see where we land on the Juju and Jalen, the Juju Smith Royals, the Jalen Smith Schuster, conversation, because I think they'd be battling, as long as there's health with everybody, they'd be battling for that number 4 wide receiver spot. So what do we think right now as we're 4 weeks away, and the fact that Jalen Royals had left practice early last week with a hamstring and then returned this week and was a full go? I think that's pretty significant because Xavier Worthy missed, almost all of the OTAs in minicamp and rookie minicamp with a hamstring. And then oddly enough, he didn't get hurt when the season started. So, oh, no.
I forgot about that.
Oh, no, this
Big
guy's
Xavier, the hammy.
We thought this was, see, that's the problem. You got a smaller guy that's a speed guy. You worry about, more significant injuries, but then soft tissue. He's already injured. This is a problem.
Jamar Chase is dropping footballs in training camp.
The white stripe is not there anymore.
Not there. Yes.
Remember, he said that. The white stripe in college helped him catch the ball with the college football. You could see the overall football with the white stripe there, and it's gone. And now what do you do? I don't know. He's not going to be a good wide receiver. He can't catch the ball. By the way, thank you, Jamar Chase, for dropping the ball that often, because the day he had the game he had all those drops in the first quarter, our fantasy draft was the next day, and I got him probably $15 cheaper than what he should have been. I'm sitting there bidding, and people are dropping out. I'm bidding, people are dropping out. I'm like, are you guys serious? I got him for this amount? One of the greatest wide receiver prospects we've seen, because he dropped footballs and he sat out last year. He didn't play. Thank you. Appreciate everybody in our fantasy draft for doing that. I got one right, finally, and I'm going to brag about it forever. More so coming up next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels, heading up until 2 o'clock. Sports or leisure coming up at 1 o'clock.
Leisure.
Sports. I'm going to do the sports side. How about that? Should we switch it up today and I'll just do the sports?
I'll do leisure today.
Oh, great. Fantastic.
Yeah. Good
It's
call.
Presented by Johnny's Tavern, $25 to Johnny's Tavern. We give you, we just give it, you got to earn it. I mean, you got to get a sports question and a leisure question right, and you only get one guess. No extra guesses, no hints, no nothing.
And we're hard.
Yeah, I mean, Sterling does not care about whether or not you were close to the answer. He will make sure that you absolutely earn it. So yes. Thank you to Matt Lane, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. Let's get into the conversation I had with Matt there at the end, as we were talking about. We brought up. I can't remember how we got into the conversation there at the end. He had mentioned something about Juju or Jalen. Oh, I had mentioned Jalen Royals, with the hamstring, and then Josh Simmons playing, and then Jalen Moore, with whatever the injury is going on and not participating. That, we can look at it and say, well, they usually hold guys out, and it's they're extra cautious. Well, then why weren't they extra cautious with Jalen Royals? And maybe it wasn't that big of a deal. And that's how we got on. Then I was like, hey, what's who has better numbers this year at the end of the year? And we can talk about what would be best for the Chiefs, worst for the Chiefs. But if we're just guessing right now, on June 19th, Juju or Jalen Royals, Sterling, who do you go with? So he's wrong. Dylan?
Are you saying
we're having so much fun at Sterling's expense, and I apologize.
Yards only, yards, touchdowns, receptions, what snap count share?
That's the thing, is that it's so generic and left open-ended with a question, because I guess it's open to interpretation too. So like better numbers or, bigger impact, because Juju may have more or a higher snap count. Jalen may have better numbers in terms of receptions and yards, but Juju might have meant more to this team.
Can we go impact?
Let's do impact on the team. Because
for impact, I'm going Juju because it was his blocking ability.
Okay, yeah.
I know he isn't always graded out great, but clearly the Chiefs value his run blocking, and he's going to, I think, he might even, now I wouldn't say third, but he's going to play a lot of snaps. Any obvious rundown situation, I imagine Juju's out there. A lot of third downs, I'm imagining Juju Smith-Schuster is out there. I don't know if people are going to like that, but I think that's the reality of the situation. I'm fine with it. Again, I think Juju has a role. I don't think it's a insane role. Again, you're going to have Xavier, Rasheed, and Hollywood as your top three, but I do think you'll see a good chunk. I think Juju is your wide receiver 4, right? I think he is firmly on this team because he does bring a different flavor to the wide receiver room. He is now the veteran in the room. I know you could say Hollywood Brown, but as far as players who have played here a number of years, that would be Juju. I like Royals. I like the draft pick. I just don't see a real path for him this season. That's not a bad thing. I'm not upset by that. I know that Xavier was great as a rookie and Rasheed was great as a rookie, but those were more by necessity than by, I think, the Chiefs wanting those guys to get that much work as a rookie. That was hey, these guys have to step up. Jalen Royals, if he has to step up this year, that means something has seriously gone wrong at multiple levels. I like the pick again, but I'm going Juju for bigger impact and maybe even better numbers. If Juju gets 250 yards receiving this year, I think that's probably going to be more than what Royals gets this particular season.
So I think it would be better for the Chiefs if it ends up being Juju with a bigger impact. And the reason I think it would be better for the Chiefs, if Jalen Royals has a bigger impact, do we think Jalen Royals right now is better than Rasheed Rice?
No.
Do we think he's better than Xavier Worthy right now?
No.
Do we think he's better than Hollywood Brown?
No.
Okay, so if Jalen Royals is performing and making a bigger impact as the number 4 receiver than Juju, that's his third year in the system. They trust he's going to be there. He's a good blocker. If Royals is playing that often, then what happened to Rasheed Rice?
Yeah.
What happened to Hollywood or Xavier Worthy? That would be my question there. I think Jalen Royals has a higher ceiling, more talent than Juju Smith-Schuster this year or even next year. Like Juju, when he was young, was awesome. It was really good. And he's got old knees, as he said, a few years ago. And he's bounced around since then. And I think Jalen Royals, what he can be, is, Rashee Rice. Are they using him because they don't have Rice? That he's lost for a suspension or an injury or whatever? Because Juju and Rashee Rice played a lot together in the Falcons game. The Ravens game and the Bengals game, Juju wasn't on the field all that much. But against the Falcons, Juju played like 40 snaps and Rashee Rice played like 50. They were on the field together a lot. They were not on the field together a lot in the first 2 weeks. Week 4 doesn't matter because it was the first drive and Rashee Rice got injured. So from that point on, we have no idea what it was going to look like. So we have at least one game, 3 weeks into it, that they looked at Rice and Juju and played them together. It wasn't an either or. Like, well, Juju was on the team playing more reps because of Rice. I think that was more Xavier Worthy started playing more reps because of Rice. They went and got DeAndre Hopkins because then Juju had the hamstring injury and was out. They like Juju. Patrick Mahomes likes Juju. Remember, last year when the the Patriots released Juju Smith-Schuster, we said on the air, look for Juju to return. I'm hearing.
Oh, man, I'm not good at Patrick Mahomes' voice. Wow, I'm sorry, Patrick. That was bad.
I'm here.
I'm embarrassed for myself.
As you should be. It wasn't bad. I mean, it's just, try to do, the Kermit the Frog. Everybody's got their own version. But when Juju Smith-Schuster got released, early on, what I was told is there's a decent chance, probably pretty strong chance, more than likely, that he was going to be a Chief. And then as it got closer and closer, it was like, yeah, this weekend he's going to be with the Chiefs. We told you about that before it happened, and we told you about Kareem Hunt before it happened. That connection. Juju Smith-Schuster is a Chief last year because of Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes has the trust of Juju. Juju has the trust of Patrick Mahomes.
There we go.
Where Sky and Kadarius Toney and the unknown of Xavier Worthy did not. So while Worthy might be really good, Toney's got some issues, and Sky Moore has not shown that he can put it together and be consistent. Juju was available. Patrick Mahomes and Matt Nagy were, let's get Juju Smith-Schuster here.
Yeah.
Took a week or so, a little bit, but let's go get Juju Smith-Schuster here in Kansas City. And they did. When Patrick wants somebody, there's a particular reason, and that guy's going to play if there's an opportunity when it's not the Rice, Worthy, Hollywood. That's the thing about Juju or Jalen Royals is at best they should be the fourth best option at wide receiver. At best they should be the fifth best option as a receiver or a pass catcher. Maybe even sixth if Noah Gray has a coming out party and excels this year. At best they should be fifth. So then we're talking about splitting hairs of what they can be. But Juju has the trust. But I will say, if there's no injury and Rice is doing his thing and Hollywood's out there and Xavier Worthy's out there and Jalen Royals is putting up numbers, well, then, yeah, I think this offense is probably, one of the best offenses in the NFL if he's doing that. Because then you're talking about if he's putting up numbers, it's because drives are extended and they're picking up more yards.
Yeah, and they're having to rotate wide receivers out, and Mahomes has thrown for 5,500 yards this year.
Right, and that's the thing about Travis Kelce last year was like, well, yeah, he had a down year. He had 97 receptions and only had 800-something yards. Yeah, and the offense was leaving the field often.
Yeah.
Early last year. They weren't picking up the yards they were in years past. Some of that's Travis Kelce not being as good as he was in years past. But a good portion of that is the left side of the offensive line with the left tackle and then Tooney moving to left tackle and left guard and the wide receiver issues and the running back issues that were happening on this offense. You weren't able to extend drives. And if you did, it was because it was like 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1 or 3rd and 2, and Kareem Hunt was able to get it done and move the sticks and move the chains. They weren't picking up chunks in games where it was like, here's 10 yards there, here's 15 yards there, here's a 25-yard pass there, that we've seen in past, that we saw at times with Rashee Rice when it was like, man, just throw him the freaking slant and let him go to work.
Well, to me, again, and you nailed it, it's Rashee Rice. That was the X factor last year, why the offense stalled out so many times, because you were no longer getting the, I don't want to say easy yards, but easier yards because of the yak ability that Rice possesses. And again, I think what he does and what he opens up for everyone else, he is now, I think, the focal point of the offense, and he will open up things for Travis Kelce and especially Xavier Worthy this year. Hollywood Brown a little bit to an extent as well. When those two guys went down, it was just going to be, it was no longer smooth sailing. It was going to be difficult. Yeah. And kind of more or less to your question, to Royals or Juju. Juju, you're right, has the trust of Patrick. You know how many drops he had last year?
Juju? I mean, I don't know if it's 0 or 1 or if it's one of those like, oh, he said 5 or 6.
It's 0.
Okay.
So
I was going to say, I don't remember one. But
he had 0 drops last year. Now, I'm not saying he's getting targeted a lot or having a ton of receptions, but he had 31 targets, 22 receptions, 0 drops. Now, a lot of that was bolstered by one game against New Orleans when a lot of they were trying to figure out that's pre-DeAndre, post-Rashee Rice.
Yeah.
Right? That was the game he had 130 yards. He was 7 of 8, but he was a break in case of emergency guy that the Chiefs trusted and Patrick trusted, right? That's all you're asking from Juju. That's what he is. He is your blocking wide receiver, but if things go awry and you need a guy who we even saw in the playoffs against Buffalo,
yeah,
right? They trust him. They trust Juju, so he does have that role because you know he's going to catch it. He will be in the right spot when you need him. He's not always going to be called upon, but when he is called upon, he will answer. And that's what Juju does. 14 yards of reception last year. Again, it's not 5 or 6. He doesn't have the yak ability that Rice has, but there's still something there from him. Not the consistency that we saw his first time around in KC or when he was in Pittsburgh. He is older, those knees. But when he needs to turn back the clock for a drive or two or a game or two, Juju can. Again, I'm all on him this year as far as a instead of Royals.
Dylan, you like if Juju or Jalen Royals, anything that we brought up or you want to point out with production, numbers, whatever it is, it's sort of open-ended.
I would just say that you guys are right about Juju
Yes.
probably having more of an impact on it because of the West Coast offense for receivers as rookies. And as we've seen, it takes about a half a year for them to really feel like they're hitting their stride, and then they do. You know,
Well,
second
and-
half they have a better production, I guess, than the first half of the season.
Well, it's a good point because, like, the most recent players that we've seen, like we've seen Macklin, we've seen Deshaun Jackson with Andy Reid's offense and rookies and how they performed. And then the last 2 years were like, hey, man, Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy have actually gone out and played well as rookies. But what do they have in common that Jalen Royals doesn't? Right now, currently. What Rice and Worthy had in common is opportunity. Rice was almost relied upon that he had to learn the offense and be that guy. Worthy, because of injury, was thrown into a bigger role and needed to be that guy. Again, Jalen Royals at best should be the fourth option. He won't be forced into where, hey, Jalen, you're a big part of the game plan. You've got to know this. We're developing plays this week in our game plan this week, and these are the plays you need to study, know exactly where you're going to be, and have the trust of Patrick Mahomes. That's what Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy were going through last year and the year before because of opportunity and injury and things like that. This year, I hope Jalen Royals doesn't have that opportunity. Yeah. I hope he's used from time to time as, you know, a guy to come in and spell Rashee Rice or Juju or Hollywood, you know, from time to time. So the West Coast offense and rookies, it won't be imperative for him to be on an accelerated curve to learn the offense the way that it was for Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next. right, wrapping up this hour. We'll get into some more Chiefs football. We'll hear from Andy Reid and Nick Bolton. Tweet comes in, said, I hope it's Royals. Juju shouldn't see many passes with Rice, Brown, and Worthy. Juju can't stay healthy, doesn't get any extra yards. I'd rather see Royals used in some packages when the defense is focused on the big four. I don't disagree with that. How much, though, like, let's say those guys are all healthy, like Rice, Worthy, Hollywood. How often are they going to need a fourth receiver like a Juju or a Jalen Royals?
Sure.
But to that point, if they need a fourth receiver that's out there, are they going to do something for somebody that might be more dynamic in Jalen Royals, a specific package or a play? But
dynamic or trust.
Yeah. But if Worthy, Rice, and Hollywood are out there, they're probably getting the ball. All right, hanging out on this Thursday edition of The Zone. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels, heading up until 2 o'clock. Sports or Leisure coming up an hour from now. Andy Reid wrapping up mandatory minicamp. Everybody in attendance, which is good. Not the case around the league, so don't have to worry about that. Not the case in years past either. But here's Andy Reid at the podium addressing the media as they get ready to take their extended break before they head to St. Joe for training camp.
Happy Juneteenth today. What a great day, man. The guys finished up today with a run and did a nice job with it. They're in pretty good shape here. Ryan's done a good job of along with the players and the rest of the coaching, the strength staff of getting these guys in good shape, and it showed today. Also, happy last day to Adam. Officially, the last day they gave you donuts and kicked your tail out the door. That's how it goes.
You don't have to push me.
I know that. It's been great though. So, yeah. Other than that, we're back here, 20th, 21st. Depending on how you look at it, the players can check in on the 20th. But really, things don't get started officially until the 21st there. So, but it's. I know the guys are looking to take a break here, but they're also looking forward to ramping up for the season and training camp, and that's how they'll approach that. So, anyways, with that, time's yours.
On the training camp, did you push for rookies and quarterbacks just for a little extra time this year?
Yeah, I did. We don't have a ton of guys that we could bring there, so I didn't feel like that was a valuable time. We got the rookies here with extra time, so we took advantage of that and done that throughout the whole off-season program. So I thought we got accomplished what we needed to.
Andy, as you know, Kelsey was here yesterday talking about what he's looking forward to this season. How do you see the season playing out for him in terms of playing time? Any different than normal?
Yeah, I'm not really feeling that. More be similar to last year, I would imagine, and as it goes. So he's in great shape right now. So I think he's looking forward to getting going.
So no concessions in terms of his age.
Listen, I always watch him. I always keep an eye on him. I know he's getting older. He doesn't know he's getting older, but I do. So I can be the bad guy in some cases there, and if needed. But if I think it's catching up to him a little bit, I'll pull off and put him where he needs to be. But other than that, he hasn't shown me any of that yet. He's done really well with it.
You already noticed the effects of him being in good shape.
Yeah, well, I know he's told you that, but he's you can tell he's worked out. He normally comes in pretty good shape, so it's not like he hasn't been. You don't survive as long as he hadn't played at the level he has. If you're not in good shape, his weight. He's one of those guys. He can fluctuate with his weight, and he's played it very successfully at a higher weight and successful at a lower weight. So right now, he's a little bit lower than what he was last year.
Do you anticipate first Josh Simmons and then Rashee Rice to be technically full goes at the beginning of training camp?
Simmons, who was the second one?
Simmons and Rice.
Yeah, I think they're both ready to go. Yeah, they actually got great work in these camps here. So.
What about Jared Wiley? What is he?
I think we're going to be okay there. He got some work here the last couple days, so I think we'll be fine there.
Based on what you have seen so far with Josh, and I know there's a few more steps to go, is he at a progress where you could envision him, starting and being a contributor this year?
Yeah, potentially, yes. Yeah, no, listen, you can see his athletic ability. You can see his want to. He's got great attitude. He's approached everything the right way, plus a little bit extra. You could tell if you just want to look at his rehab, you can see that he had a mindset that I'm going to get in there. It's not going to be training camp. So it's going to be like now. And he worked his tail off to get there. So you respect that part of it. And he's done a nice job in there. He's worked well, and we'll just see. We'll see. What training camp does to him. It's different when when things are flying fast up there, and you've got full contact and pads on, and see how he does.
Andy, what have you seen from Tyquan Thornton?
I like Tyquan. I like the way he's approached things. He's got the quarterback's trust, that's a positive thing. He got valuable reps in here. The other guys can see that he's a talented guy. So far, so good. Again, I'd like to see him in a game situation, how he handles it. I would anticipate he would do a nice job. But I want to see where we're at with that.
Andy, are you usually able to decompress these few weeks coming up and completely stay away, or?
Yeah, I mean, you never completely stay away, but what I do, I enjoy doing. But I'll decompress.
How will you manage that?
Road trip with that?
Yeah, we'll go to Colorado, enjoy life.
Plenty of room out there.
Yeah, yeah.
Coach, with so many young guys looking to get implemented in the ramp up after this decompression period, do you guys set individual goals with these players, or is it more just like a general improvement?
Yeah, so we talked to them about strengths and weaknesses and where we would like, these are the things we need to really work on so we can add that to your game and into the repertoire of your actual game day and how you play. So you got to practice those things and do it fast and make it where it's just second nature for you. So, yeah, we talk about those type of things. And then, obviously, I think everybody right now is sitting there going, yeah, you want to win the Super Bowl. That's what you want to do. So, but we're right there. That's our primary goal is to put ourselves in the best position we can to win.
It's not that he needs it as much in year 9, but what's the guidance for Patrick over the next 4 to 5 weeks?
For Patrick?
Yeah.
So Pat will go ahead and I'm sure he'll take a couple days off here and then start ramping up from there, getting himself ready. I'm sure there'll be a lot of golf in between there. So that's how he decompresses, and that along with his family. So.
And we got a chance to catch up with Mike Caliendo yesterday. How has he responded to the Super Bowl? What kind of offseason has he had?
Yeah, he's had a great one. Great kid. Very, very smart. Hard worker. He's gotten better every year. For him to step in and do what he did this past year, he knows he can play at this level. We saw how Allegretti did it, and I'd tell you that he's doing the same. It looks like the building blocks are kind of the same there. So.
Andy, because you guys have top 3, however you frame the depth chart, a lot of receivers returning, are you able to implement things this summer that maybe you wouldn't have with a bunch of new receivers?
Yeah, Sam, absolutely. Yeah, you're not going. I mean, we were teaching everything, getting out of the huddle, the snap count. That's where we started with some of these guys last year. So, yeah, no, it allows you to jump start, line up in all these crazy formations. So you had to kind of back up on some of that stuff. And it's things that as the season went on, we were able to expand a little bit and then hit it running here.
Okay, thanks, Coach.
All right, you guys have a great break.
All right, there's Andy Reid, and some of the bigger things that came from that is Josh Simmons and Rashee Rice asked about them and said that, yeah, they'll be ready for training camp.
Yeah.
Jared Wiley, he said, it looks like we're going to be okay there as far as ready for training camp because he got work in already this mini camp. So looks like there's a pretty decent chance that all 3, Simmons, Rice, and Wiley, will be ready for full participant at training camp, which report date is the 20th. And as Andy Reid said, things don't get started officially until the 21st. So we're looking at right around a month from today that they will be reporting to training camp, and then things getting started on the 21st. They are not going to have the 3 days where the rookies and injured players and quarterbacks will show up and have practices before the veterans go and report. They will just all be reporting together there in St. Joe. So we're looking at the 20th and then the 21st. But the big news in that he expects Josh Simmons and Rashee Rice to be full participants at the beginning of training camp. That's significant news for Josh Simmons.
That's the big one, right? I mean, we talked about, though, Rice still. This is nice to see Rice. I like the Jared Wiley update, at least intriguing, because I think he's a lot to prove because I know it's a UDFA, but Brenningstool has a lot of people excited, so you almost have to hold him off for that tight end 3 spot.
If they keep 4 tight ends, then Brenningstool, Gray, Kelsey, and then Wiley would be those 4 guys. But if you're only having 3 active on game day, then is that Wiley or is that Brenningstool? And look, the Chiefs have had a rookie tight end have a knee injury his first year and then come back and turn out to be a Hall of Famer. And what I'm saying is that Jared Wiley is Travis Kelce. It's really what I'm saying is they have – well, what else do we know of having stuff in common? Knee injury early in his career, surgery, and then coming back the next year. That's the only thing we know of that they have in common between the two of them right now.
Plays tight end.
Yeah, right.
In the NFL.
I mean, tight end in the NFL. There you go.
For the Chiefs.
One of those guys turned out to be the GOAT, and the other one we'll see. He's just getting started. It's like
they're not the same height. Jared Wiley's 6'6", Kelsey's 6'5".
Ooh, wow, yeah. What about weight?
Jared Wiley 249. Let's see what.
But then you subtract 25
250
from whatever Kelsey's is.
Well, Kelsey said, "Don't believe everything you read."
You're right. So
he
it's
said
more
he's
15.
lighter. Well, it might be 1. It might be 249.
It is. It actually is.
And it's all muscle.
If he lost 1 pound, they're the same weight. So we got
1 pound. He's lighter.
That going for him.
He's lighter. And Andy Reid said that his weight fluctuates. He's played really well when he's been heavier. He's played really well when he's been lighter. This year, he's shown up lighter and doesn't question his training or fitness or anything like that. But also the question there at the end from Sam McDowell about the returning wide receivers helping you build the offensive plays as opposed to starting at the bottom. And Andy Reid said, we're not teaching them how to get out of the huddle. We're not teaching them where they're specifically supposed to line up. Remember, Rashee Rice was a guy that he talked about early on learning how to run from the huddle to his spot. Like, you would just be done with your route and then run back to the line of scrimmage when he was playing in college. Well, now he's got to run to a huddle. Like, it seems pretty elementary, right? But at this level, you're running from the huddle out to the hash and further than that, and you've got to know exactly what your split's going to be because those yards matter. They have those splits for a specific reason, how far away or close you're supposed to be to the next guy and to the end of the line of scrimmage or to the boundary. You better have those specific things, those details down. Worthy had to learn that last year.
Yeah.
Jalen Royals is a guy that played on one side of the field last year in his college season. So he's got to learn how to, run from the other side as well. But if he was their number 1, that'd be a little more difficult because you'd have to be teaching him those things as opposed to he's their 4 at best or 5. And with your 4 guys, they've all played in the system at least for this being their second year. Rashee Rice and Juju, this is their 3rd year in the system. Hollywood and Xavier Worthy, 2nd year in the system. So they should have those details, that minutia down and figured out to where you can now layer the plays and the scheme on top of that as opposed to just being at square one. You got to lay the foundation first. So that's at least positive news. That's where the continuity comes in and helps. Let's hear from Nick Bolton, the Chiefs' newest signed middle linebacker, extension for Nick Bolton. And here's what he had to say a little bit earlier today at the podium.
How was the run test, Nick?
It was pretty good. Getting out there, a lot of guys out there. But yeah, it was fun. Getting everybody out there for the last time, joking around, having fun, and just looking forward to training camp now.
Since we don't get to see it, and folks at home don't get to see it, explain the run test to people.
Yeah, we just got like 110s. We got a lot of guys out there. There's a lot of bodies right shoulder to shoulder. We're just running around across the field and back. I got a little bit of rest in between. Knock about 10 of those things out. We're off and going.
Nick, coming off a Super Bowl loss, what have you noticed from guys, the team, being around guys again?
Yeah, I got super focused. You can't really go back and change the outcome of that game, but the only thing you can do is kind of put your focus in and changing the outcome for this coming season. So that's where our focus is, kind of breaking down our goals all the way back down to the bottom. I always want to win the AFC West, then get the AFC Championship game, Lamar Hunt, and go back to Super Bowl and have different results. So just start back from ground one on the foundation. We're just building that up as we go to training camp and just hoping to keep building.
Nick, just considering the grade dot, the top 2 defensive draft rookies, Norman Lott and Gelati, how do you feel they came along and maybe what their readiness might be for training camp?
Yeah, I was super surprised, man, of how smart those guys were, how focused they were, how driven, self-driven they were. I actually got the chance to kind of look at them in the rookie mini camp they had before we got down here. I understand, like, conceptually wise, how difficult it is coming from college and playing a multiple scheme here. So those guys are picking it up, making calls, making reads, and giving communication back to the linebackers, letting them know they got the call and stuff. And me with the green dot, it means a lot. So you know everybody's on the same page, and they're all doing that throughout through their camp, but then through OTAs. And so I'm super excited for those two guys for sure. We have a lot of other guys that are contributing as well, but those two for sure are doing great.
You felt you didn't really have to adjust them as much?
No, I think Coach Joe did a great job of getting them to that point, and then the vets got here, man, and they were just off and running, they're clicking. They understand communication, understand concepts, what we want to do, and what we want to present to the quarterback and stuff like that. So they're miles ahead of where I was my rookie year for sure.
Nathan, what way did you get a look at them during rookie minicamp?
We got it on our iPads, and so everybody can watch the plays and stuff like that. And I know what plays are called by looking at it, so I kind of understand if guys doing the right thing or not. And those guys have maybe little to none mistakes and mental errors. And so as you progress, you want to limit the mental errors and just play fast. And football's not perfect, but the mental part can be.
You always do that, even the practices that you're here like that?
Yeah, for sure. Even when I was dinged up or out not playing, it's kind of good to keep your mind refreshed. Some things change year to year, so I just want to make sure that I'm up to key on stuff like that. And there might be something we talked about in OTAs, on virtual meetings. Then they come here and they do it on the grass, and you're like, oh shoot, I forgot about that. So it's just good to get a mental refresher so you're just up to speed on everything.
Spags has talked about the fact that you're critical to what he wants to do and be able to do some of the advanced things with the defense. What is that relationship like between the two of you, especially as far as just the football goes and understanding each other and understanding what he's thinking?
Yeah, I think it's been years and years of growing together to understand what we want to kind of get out of the scheme. But yeah, Spaz does a great job of just communicating things. We have different guys, different personnel, a lot of different bodies out there. So it's a rhyme and reason why we're doing different things, and just understanding that process and that mental part of the why he's trying to step his curveball or hitting teams with a fastball now. Just giving different quarterbacks different looks and different offensive personnel when they present it to us. So yeah, something I've constantly been learning. I'm still evolving in that role. I don't think I have everything down to this speed right now, but yeah, Spaz does a great job of just giving confidence in his guys, giving confidence to me to make the right checks when I can and when they present it. Just kind of giving me the keys to the car.
How does it feel when he says things like that?
Yeah, man. He's had a lot of guys that's play great football in his schemes, D-line, secondary linebackers, and so anytime I can kind of be mentioned with those guys, I take it as a great deal because I know he values those guys with high respect, especially when he talks about the mental part and guys being smart and guys getting guys lined up. I take that with a lot of pride for sure.
Go up next to Nick Jake.
Yeah, hey, Nick, can you tell me more about this Crab Award and this piece Spagnuolo was talked about? It sounds like it's one of the more coveted things among defensive members.
Okay, one more time, we said?
The Crab Award.
Oh, the Cram.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got a Cram Award. We just try to disrupt guys in the line of scrimmage. We got a lot of corners. We play a lot of press. A lot of guys that we switch different looks and we try to reroute people. Might be a D lineman on a puller. Getting a Cram Award. So you're just trying to knock guys' teeth out. Kind of what we say. We set the line of scrimmage, stuff like that. Anytime anybody kind of gets those things up there, we put a little slideshow together. Kind of just put the nominees up there. Coach Spice and his wife, they kind of go through and she kind of picks the best one she thinks from the week before. We kind of get a little pasta dinner. So it's a little thing we got going on, man. Super cool. Kind of keep it going. But yeah, Miss Maria does a great job with pasta if you haven't known.
And then going back to the rookie thing you were talking about, watching the iPad.
Yeah.
You're watching it, you're seeing these guys, you're probably expecting something, but just what's the first instinct reaction when you're seeing things that you might not have thought that these guys would have?
Yeah, man. A lot of stuff they're doing is like individual. So like you see guys doing like practice drops and getting eyes in the right places and eye progression and stuff like that. It's just small, minute details. Big scheme wise, you don't really see anything because guys are not gonna be perfect. It's a new scheme for them, but those small little things you can see in individual, like eye progression wise, like those things help when you're telling them to push or you tell him that, hey, alert this, and like he got his eyes in the right spot, at least he has a chance. So those little things that you can kind of see on the iPads, it kind of helps you, like, hey, like I watched this play and you had your eyes in the wrong spot, like move your eyes this way first, then go back this way. It kind of helps you with the progression and kind of getting in the right spot.
Does it excite you that guys are ahead of what you?
Oh yeah, oh absolutely. We got a lot of guys in this game. You got to be smart. You have to be you have to be versatile. You can play multiple positions, and so I think Coach Baggs and V did a great job of bringing those guys in. Then the IQs to the roof, and so I'm excited for those guys to bring to the table for us in training camp and onto the season.
What stands out about Jeff Bossett too?
Yeah, Jeff Bossett, we joke around all the time. He's like a mix between Willie that was here and Leo in terms of just stature-wise and his play style. But I think he's been a great job communicating. One of those things that as a linebacker coming in, you know your job if you communicate well. He does that probably good as anybody. And also just talk to the secondary, understand what people are doing behind him. And so I've also had some time to kind of sit down and talk to him a little bit and kind of pick his brain a little bit. And you understand that he's a high IQ guy, a high motor. He's a little bit lighter guy, but he can run, he can cover a little bit. So he brings those intangibles to the team we need.
You can tell that he's got a background as a defensive back.
Yeah, you definitely can tell. We made a joke about it one time because he's out there playing press like a corner. We said we take 31, put 35 in there, we might switch it out a little bit. But yeah, it's pretty fun, man. He's up there. He likes to play coverage, so that'd be great for us.
For the next 3 weeks for you, what's in store?
Yeah, I'm kind of just take a little bit of time away, about 4 or 5 days, man. Just kind of get back to it. I did a great job, OTAs and before. Just kind of getting in shape. I get my body fat down. I'm trying to stay conditioned, and I'm just going to try to keep that as we keep going. Kind of lose about maybe 2 pounds. Other than that, though, just have fun. Spend some time with family. Get away from the game a little bit because we plan on doing this thing for 8 months.
Last one. You mentioned the addition of Bassa. Does that kind of change your and Drew's roles or assignments coming into this year?
I don't think so. I think he just adds. At this point, on our defense, we have a lot of veteran guys here, but we're just adding pieces that can help us out in the long haul. We can't really tell exactly what his position is going to be or what his role is going to be on this team, but I'm just excited for him to go out there and just put his best foot forward, try to make the 53, just go out there and have fun. I told him all the time, man, just go out there and have fun and look at the big picture, small picture every day, just try to get a little bit better, and then lead you where you need to be. So he's been doing that every day, so I'm proud of him where he's at, but we're excited for put the pads on, see what we got.
Thanks, Nick.
Yep, thank you.
Entering year 5 for Nick Bolton, and interesting stuff about the rookies, specifically too, Omar Norman Lott and Ashton Gelati, what he was able to see in individuals and watching the rookie minicamp, watching the iPad of the rookie minicamp practices, that he does that every year. When he's not out there, he still gets the practice film and watches that to see what guys are doing, and was able to get a pretty good idea of what those guys look like. And then his impression of Jeffrey Bassa, a combo of Willie Gay and Leo Chenal. Sure. I mean, sign me up.
I can't get more excited.
I mean,
that sounds
like
insane.
It's like a voice that sounds like Fergie and Jesus.
Yes.
You know, like if he's Willie Gay and Leo, I can't even look at you right now. You know? I mean, you got to know, I'm not just some linebacker.
Hey,
I'm Nick Bolton.
He's Fred Warner apparently back there. Yeah, it's nice.
I'm not just some linebacker. You got to know. All right, I'm Nick Bolton. And you're like a combo of Willie and Leo. Like, I can't even look at you right now.
2 pounds?
He's got to lose 2 pounds before
Man,
training camp. So
that guy.
Boy, what an FA. I was thinking about that. Like, I saw him. I'm like, that guy looks like he's a couple pounds overweight.
I got to lose some weight. I got to get back in shape. 2 pounds. That's a meal.
Well, I was going to say, as much as those guys eat, that's just taking a dump. Like, all right, I'm in shape, guys. I did it. Don't worry, Andy. I'm good to go now. All right,
Come on, Jason, what?
Sometimes that's the case. You never know.
You need to take a Cal Raleigh's nickname.
Is that what it is? Yeah, that's true. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll hear from Spagnuolo. His nickname's Spags. We'll hear him weigh in on Nick Bolton and some of the rookies as well. More Zone next. really ties into Nick Bolton talking today as they wrap things up before reporting to training camp on July 20th. Let's play clip number 1 here. This is Steve Spagnuolo. He was on New Heights last Wednesday. And one of the clips that he's talking about in the hour-long interview that he had with the Kelsey brothers, they were talking about defenses and throughout his career, and they got into what is it about this defense that makes it special to him.
This is the highest percentage of cerebral players in one room, in the defensive room, that I've ever had. And when you have that, then you can do the things that you're talking about, Jason, because it's hard to do it when you don't do it up here. And I'll tell you what, to Brett Veach's credit and all the personnel people, and Andy included, I mean, I value what I call football get it.
Yeah.
Right. You don't have to be a 4.0 student in college. I mean, I don't ask about GPAs, right? Trav wouldn't be able to play defense if we were asking about GPAs. but football get it. Like you guys know what I'm talking about. They get the game of football, and the more guys you can get, the more guys you can get in your room, that especially on defense. And Trav, the guy in the middle that we have,
Nick Bolton. I already knew it had to.
Yeah, you got to have that guy in the middle.
I mean, the entire room, legitimately, like him and Trank, and then you add the safeties and even somebody that's an outside piece that you can move around, like Trent. I mean, his understanding of the game and his understanding of offenses and
at this level, those guys are at that level. Leo Chanel is the same way.
Oh man,
I don't think if you're going to be a multiple defense, that guy in the middle has to be that. Like, here's where I've been really lucky. So I've got Nick now. Anthony Hitchens was like that, Trav.
Yeah,
when I first got here. When I was in New York, I had Antonio Pierce. Pierce became a head coach in this league. I mean, Jeremiah Trotter was really good. Kelvin Shepard is now the defensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions. He was a Mike linebacker for me in New York. So if you've got those kind of guys right in the, it's like the center and the quarterback, Jason, on offense, right? I mean,
all right now.
I mean, if you don't have that guy, you can't do all these things.
Yeah. Whenever we watch Nick on tape, it was just so apparent how much of everything he was helping orchestrate and get lined up, and just a tremendous amount of respect for that guy.
I bet if you talk to all the other guys, I mean, he makes the other 10 better. Like, he's telling the D line what to do, and he's signaling back here. And listen, when in doubt, I tell him, do whatever Nick says. Just do whatever Nick tells you to do, just do it. It might not be exactly the way we put it in.
But at least you'll be sound. At least you'll be sound.
That's exactly right. Everybody will be doing the same thing. But we got a lot of trust in Nick.
So there you go. There's high praise from Steve Spagnuolo with the group of players he has on defense, and then at the end, Nick Bolton. But started off by saying, when asked about this particular defense and what has set this group aside over these last couple of years and playing at a level that has helped this team get to and win the Super Bowl. When we talk about, 2022 when they played the Eagles the first time, #1 offense in the NFL, and they picked up every single yard available to them in the second half that they wanted. The only yard they didn't get is when they took a knee at the 1 yard line. They had to have that because the defense gave up 35 points in that game to the Eagles. They had that, scoop and score by Nick Bolton, which was huge. But defense, and they said after the game and the beginning of the next year that they didn't perform the way that they felt like they should have. Happy that they got the win in a Super Bowl and that the offense played that way, but they didn't feel like they held up their end of the bargain in that one. Well, fast forward the next year, they're phenomenal. And they play that well against San Francisco. And, they hold the Bengals and the Bills and the Ravens on the road. And then in the Super Bowl against the 49ers, the defense was the strength of that team. And they win a Super Bowl. And it was like, hey, the defense, a big reason why. And last year, the offense was not as good as we have seen in years past. But the defense is a big reason why that team made it to the Super Bowl. And so this group, what is it? And Spag says it's the highest percentage of cerebral players in one room that I've ever had. And you have to have that with his defense, right? Like we've talked about that, what Tyrann Mathieu meant to the defense for putting everybody in the same spot, in the right spot. Justin Reed putting guys in the right spot. And we heard Brett Veach, I can't remember when it was. It was before they signed Bolton. And I think it might have been 2024 offseason after coming off back-to-back Super Bowls. So not this offseason when they signed Nick Bolton. but it was Brett Veach saying, when he was asked about like an important player on defense or what they value, and he said, I think it's really hard to develop a middle linebacker. And we're like, well, that was a surprise. He didn't say corner, he didn't say safety, didn't say defensive end, defensive tackle. And at that point, you're like, okay, that kind of gives you an idea of what they're thinking when it comes to Nick Bolton. And look, there's a reason why they signed the guy to the 3 years, $45 million contract that they did. And it's because Spags really trusts him. Spags believes in him. And at the end, he said, if what was the line? If there's any question, just listen to what Nick says. Yeah. Even if it's not technically where you're supposed to be or what we put in, just listen to Nick because he'll have you in a spot.
We're all wrong. We're all right.
Yes, that's right. Exactly. It's that level. And I think it was Nick Bolton that said about Brian Cook when he was a rookie that he said about Brian Cook speaking up and being loud as a rookie. And he's like, yeah, he's loud, and even when he's wrong, he thinks he's right, because of how confident he is in saying it. And that's essentially what Spagnuolo was saying with Nick Bolton, that, hey, if Nick is telling you this, then do it. Even if it may not be to what we thought or what we were meaning it to be, if Nick is telling you to do this, then do it. So therefore, we're all on the same page, even as Dylan said, even if we're wrong, we're right, because we don't have one guy that's playing man-to-man over here and another guy that's playing zone. You don't have one guy that's stunting at the defensive tackle spot and another guy that's not, and now you just have two guys opening up a wide gap in the middle. Defensive tackle is going to the outside to knock out the left tackle or the right tackle, and the left defensive end is then staying on the outside. Well, now you've got a huge hole right up the middle because somebody didn't get the call. But yeah, it's high praise when he went through all those different linebackers. This guy's a head coach, this guy's a defensive coordinator, this guy's a defensive coordinator. Essentially saying, Nick Bolton, in his future could be, a coach, a D coordinator, because he's that smart. And why is he that smart? Because he works. I mean, to hear him talk about watching the rookie minicamp practices on the iPad, to see the eye progression of the defensive players so that when he's in camp with them, he can show them what they did right and wrong. I mean, that's a level of detail that's going to earn you 3 years, $45 million. Well, and you have to play well, too.
And I remember talking about this with Bolton at the Super Bowl. This goes back to when he was a kid. He used to watch his film of Pee Wee football with his dad. This is what he did. I mean, this guy is he's film
a junkie.
grind. I mean, he loves it, and that's how you get better. And so it's not just, lip service of Spags saying, well, he's doing this, and it makes you feel good. No, Bolton's doing this. Mm-hmm. He wants to get better. He wants to understand what everyone else's role is on the defense. He's the captain of the defense. Even if he's not the loudest guy or maybe even the vocal leader, he is going to get you in the right spot, and the Chiefs find so much value in that. It's almost like Yadi Molina. When you look back at the Cardinals, I hate giving the Cardinals credit, and I just, me, St. Louis credit. I think it's ridiculous, but
marked it.
But I'll do it right now, because you look at Yadi Molina, and there's always the question of maybe other fan bases are like, yeah, but look at the stats. They're not great. What does he do? Why does everyone love this guy so much? It's the IQ. It's what he brings that's almost unquantifiable, right? It's the qualitative traits, not the quantitative traits. So I think Bolton has almost a little bit of that Yadi Molina, where you can't always just look at the numbers of what he does for this team. You got to go a little deeper, and I'm so glad they gave Bolton that contract. Was it expensive? Yes. Do I think it's going to be worth it? I also think yes.
Well, and to your point, 2014, 15, and 16 combined Eric Hosmer OPS at under 800. But who was sort of the guy?
Yeah.
With that 14 and 15 and 16 when they tried to make a run for it, too. Who was the guy? It was Hosmer. He wasn't the best player putting up the best numbers on that team, but he was sort of the straw that stirred it, and he was the personality, sort of the life of that clubhouse. Let's hear from Steve Spagnuolo. He was asked about the rookie class, and so he weighs in on some of the rookies, but he was asked to start off specifically with Omar Norman Lott, and here's Spags starting off with Omar Norman Lott and then getting into some of the other rookies.
You know who he's a little bit like, Travis? Is Turk.
Okay. Ooh,
Turk Wharton.
Nice.
Yeah, a little bit like Turk.
Yeah, we lost Turk to the Carolina Panthers, one of my favorite teammates of all times from St. Louis.
Yeah, I love Turk. But this young guy, Jason, is movement guy. It'd be really good. The defensive end, Galletti that we got, I think he could play anywhere. He's one of, and both these guys are real smart. The corner, Noah Williams, the same way. And then we got a linebacker I think is going to be really good. But all these guys I feel like, will fit in the rooms they're going into. I think they will be kind of the mold that we just got done talking about. They have football, get it. And again, give Brett Veach and his crew a lot of credit because they come around. And what's great, we collaborate better here than anywhere I've ever been. I'm talking about personnel and coaching. And I think that is one of the keys to the success we've had.
Heck yeah.
I mean, we've heard them talk about it before. That's where the Uche trade sort of didn't make sense because it didn't seem like a Spags guy that they brought in, and then he just didn't even play. But I do believe there's that collaboration between the personnel, the coaches, the players in what they're looking for, what they value, what they like, because Spagnuolo has to have guys that are smart and that get it and just naturally, instinctively understand the cerebral part of playing the game. And it's what they talked about with Nick Bolton. They spoke highly of that with Trent McDuffie. They talked about that with Bassa. They mentioned that with Jaden Hicks. Like, they've talked about it with a number of different players that they have drafted of just the high level of IQ that they have. Obviously, Justin Reed when they signed him, but a high level of IQ that they have for playing the game and understanding concepts and understanding and being that football IQ. You're not just grabbing somebody that's a crazy athlete that is just, well, we're going to have to teach them how to play football. No, we're going to draft guys that understand it, and you can put them in a position because you can't have 2 or 3 guys that just don't get the scheme and what we're doing here, because that's going to create holes, and now you're going to get eaten alive.
I can't wait to see Galati.
Gillette. Gillette.
Was it Gillette? Was what he said?
Yeah, Gillette. It was Norman in the defensive end Gillette that that they have as well. I love the coaches getting all the names wrong.
Well, they probably call them by their number more than anything, if you're being honest.
Reed, Pacheco.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, doggone it, Herbie. You know what, Pacheco? I mean, just getting names constantly wrong. It's great, Karlafakis,
Yeah.
It's just, and now Gillette.
Gillette, that one got the best a man he can get.
Yeah, well, you know what? That's Gillette, which is Jif. Anyway, go ahead.
No,
I talking about
the Omar Norman Lott. I mean, it is funny that we've all said that's the Turk Wharton replacement, and who does he remind you of? Tershawn Wharton. I mean, you love hearing that, and I do think there's going to be a higher floor of when Turk first came in. Obviously, Missouri S&T versus Tennessee. It's a pretty big difference there. Yeah. Turk Wharton grew into a phenomenal player.
Free agent versus
second rounder. But still, you saw a guy grow into a very good rotational piece. I think you're going to have a guy who starts his career as a very good rotational piece with upside for more. Happy for Turk Wharton. Obviously, the contract he received is phenomenal for him. Chiefs were not able to – they weren't going to be able to match that. And now getting that replacement, obviously trying to, at least in the aggregate for year one, with Tillery and Omar Norman Lott, you do hope that he can grow into what that 7.5 or 7 sack season that, Turk Wharton had last year. If you can get that in year 2 or 3 from Omar Norman Lott, you're ahead of schedule.
Yeah. We'll get into the top 100, the all-rookie, the all-century, but you know what Turk Wharton and and Omar Norman Lott, Turk Wharton and Omar Norman Lott have in common? Neither of them are under contract for the Chiefs right now. We'll continue. More so next. 1 o'clock, we got a little sports or leisure today.
Fact.
And or nonfiction. I don't know, you might have some nonfiction questions.
Oh.
Pretty much every question we have is essentially nonfiction, right?
Yeah, it's true. I have a lot of nonfiction questions today.
All of my questions are sports related, and they're nonfiction.
I could do a fiction or nonfiction. I could do a book category. I take that back. I did a book category one time, and no one picked a single book. Yeah, they hated it.
Yeah, come on. What are you talking about?
They hate it. I said, let's make the show a little more intelligent. You know, let's have some.
And then you did a TV and movies one, and they're like, yeah, let me get that one.
Yeah, let me get that one.
Books that you only know about because you watched the movie.
The beer
that should be a category.
The beer category went so well.
Yeah.
It ruined. I had to take it away because that was the only category. I had like 25 questions on the beer category, and that was gone in 2 weeks.
It's too much of a good thing sometimes.
Yeah,
it was. Know what I mean? You were overindulging in the beer.
Not me, of course.
Yeah, so you had just a little bit too much, and you needed to take a break.
I'm just going to one day books, riddles. That's it. That's your only choice. Not today, but someday.
You woke up the next day, like a lot of times in college and maybe early, post-college, of I'm never doing that again until like the next weekend when you do it again.
Until later that evening.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, until like I'm not going to drink again. Your friend 6 hours later. Hey, you want to grab some beers?
Hey, next time.
Yeah, I do.
Take a picture of me right now. Next time I think about drinking, just show me this picture. Never.
That's
again.
like the bargaining stage of the hangover.
That's
You're bargaining with I promise whatever forces is making this happen to me that I will never do it again.
And then the second the hangover leaves you, you go, yeah, that wasn't so bad.
You guys day
Let's
drinking?
run it back, baby.
You guys day drinking? Yeah, sure. I'll join.
I just
what
say,
are we doing?
Hand me a rum and pineapple. That gets you back to level. You get a rum and pineapple in the morning, all of a sudden, you know what happened? Your worries are washed away. You're now on a beach somewhere.
What if they just hand you a
Christopher Cross is playing in the air.
A shot of rum and then an actual pineapple in one hand. Like, here you go. Here's
I'll make it work.
Rum and pineapple.
I will make that work.
Just cut that thing open.
That actually sounds better. I will drink said rum from said pineapple.
Whatever the shot is tequila where you got to lick, take the shot, lick the salt, then do the lime or whatever.
No, what you're supposed to do is you actually squirt. No, you snort the salt.
I don't think that's right.
You drink the tequila and then you squirt the lime in your eye. It's called the Iron Man shot.
I don't think that's right.
I did it one time, and one time was enough.
Yeah, I don't think that's right.
I have a video, and it was one of the dumber things I've done. It was at Brewa. I did a brew top at 135th.
I wish it was called Brewa.
Yeah,
that
was dumb.
I was over at Brewa.
Shockingly,
but you could take the rum shot and then just bite into the pineapple. But with it, not the outside of the pineapple.
Well, I don't want scurvy.
Well, that's true. Yeah, but then you can have some oranges, right? Does that help with that?
Does that help with pineapple
does orange help with scurvy? I don't know. Maybe it's just simply fruits.
Interns,
they're not back there.
We lost them.
We lost them. Well, they probably heard that and they're like, "We're going to get some rum and pineapple for this guy."
You know what? You guys want a day drink? Let's go. They're like,
that seems.
I woke up this morning
fun.
and I'm like, do not let me drink again. And then I heard them talking about it. I'm like, let's go day drink, man.
Well, good thing the interns aren't here to hear.
Yeah.
Do as I don't say and don't do as I don't do.
That's the old saying.
Yeah.
That is the old adage that people would want to live by.
Nailed it.
Yep. You're going to be a great father. You're going to be a great father. NFL.com put out their offense and defense all rookie team pre-training camp. 11 players on offense and 11 players on defense. So they went, and then oddly enough, 3 special teams. They went the 5 offensive linemen, quarterback, 2 running backs, and 2 wide receivers. They went 2 defensive tackles, 2 defensive ends, or edge rushers, linebackers, a couple cornerbacks, and safeties. And then they also did like punt return and then kicker punter. One Chief shows up. One Chief rookie shows up. I don't know if you or Dylan have seen this. I saw this morning at NFL.com. One Chiefs rookie shows up out of all those positions that is on the pre-training camp NFL all-rookie team.
Oh, all-rookie. I thought you said like the all-century team. The all.
No, there's an all-century team there, and multiple Chiefs show up on that.
Yeah, I was going to say. Priest Holmes showed up on that one.
Priest Holmes running back, Patrick Mahomes at quarterback, Kelsey and Tony Gonzalez,
Chris Jones,
Jared Allen.
Yep.
Dave Tobe.
Yeah, no
That's
Andy.
Right. And not even no Andy. Like I get it, Bill Belichick, but
sure.
Wade Phillips over Steve Spagnuolo.
Yeah.
The all-century team for defensive coordinators, Wade Phillips over Steve Spagnuolo. Like, are you kidding
in
me?
fairness, there was a lot of Chiefs more so than maybe any other team on that
Right,
list.
I know,
I'm not going to be. I wasn't going to.
Oh, what the Chiefs are not like. Who's been the best defensive coordinator for the last 25 years? Like we're talking
Even
about Spags,
with the Giants.
We're talking about Spags being one of the best defensive coordinators that ever. He's got 4 Super Bowl championships. Wade Phillips has what, 1?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
So anyway, who's the rookie that's on the NFL All-Rookie team pre-training camp at NFL.com?
Well, I mean, I think the obvious one would be Josh Simmons, but I'll go fun with this. I'm going to say Brashard Smith is a special teamer.
That's interesting. I was wondering about that when I scrolled down to special teams to see who would show up with that. Your guess, Brashard Smith. Dylan, your guess?
Trying to guess between Omar Norman Lott or Noel Williams. I think I'll go Noel Williams just because they're trusting Veach's history with cornerbacks.
The answer is he was mentioned but not chosen. Is Josh Simmons. Josh Simmons was chosen for one of the 2 tackle spots for all-rookie team in the NFL this year, which to me just starts to add into he was one of the tackles that was taken in the draft. A lot of tackles taken in the top 25. But because the health is there and what we're seeing from that nationally this guy's going to be one of the top 2 best offensive tackle rookies in the NFL this year, because if he's healthy, he probably should have gone as one of the top 2 tackles taken in the draft this year. So I thought that was interesting to see that. The cornerbacks that were there, I was seeing if Noel Williams was going to be a part of it or Omar Norman Lott, but there were so many defensive tackles in this draft, so it'd be tough to have a rotational defensive tackle in Omar Norman Lott, and so many defensive end and edge rushers, so Gelati or Galette, as Steve Spagnuolo calls him. But Brashard Smith was the one that popped into my mind, and I wouldn't have guessed Josh Simmons just because of the question mark about the health and because there were a number of tackles taken before him. So, Sports or Leisure coming up next, 913-3-810-810. 913-333-810-810 is the phone number. Playing a little sports or leisure, 913-333-810-810. Playing for $25 to Johnny's Tavern. You get a sports question, you get a leisure question, you get them both right, you win. Either of them wrong, sorry about that, you lose.
But we'll be nice about it.
That's right. Sterling will be probably very nice about it because
Yes.
Sterling will probably give you 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
I care. Jason.
Hey, let's ask LeBron. How many guesses, LeBron, does Sterling typically give you on his leisure questions?
Not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7.
He'll get-
Unlimited.
Yeah, that's good, Dylan.
He can give you unlimited guesses until you get it right. That's just depending on
No,
the mood he's
you
in.
get one guess.
That ain't true.
Maybe 2 or 3.
Nope, that's not true.
No, you get like
Not
a
true.
real guess. I'll give you some hints along the way.
Yeah, it is. He got eaten. No way you get that movie line.
No, I was thinking of Adam Eaton.
No way you get that movie line. Nope, that ain't true. Yeah, it is. He got eaten. They were in a treehouse eating s'mores.
Ah. Oh, Sandlot.
Yes. And then he just disappeared in
Yeah.
Smalls.
I'm glad Sterling answered first.
That's right. Then Smalls.
What are you going to say, like Predator?
No, Stand By Me.
Oh, yeah.
Alien
Well,
versus
could've
Predator.
Could have been.
Ate someone.
But yeah, Sandlot.
Scary Predator guy.
Smalls. That's not true. And then Ham. Yeah, it is. And takes a bite of his s'mores. He got eaten. There was a weird game that my buddy and I would play back in like high school to now currently. We would see how long we could go between saying, yeah, it is, and then saying he got eaten, to the point that like a year later, I sent him a text that said, he got eaten. Like, yeah. It started off with like 5 minutes, and then like an hour, and then like a day, and then just randomly walking up to him, hey, he got eaten. Like, oh, man, that's
Do you remember?
a good one.
It's like remember in the Madden doc when him and Pat Summerall had bets?
Yes.
How long Pat would wait between the murder she wrote, because it was murder, comma, she wrote
Yes.
when he's going through like nowadays it's 60 minutes and Amazing Race or whatever,
Yeah.
but he was going through them, and they would have bets of how long he could pause between the murder and she wrote. And there's one where it's like a 10-seconder, and you can hear him hit the dump button because they're both laughing so hard.
It's good.
good.
Yeah.
Good bit.
You know what he didn't do? Wait a year.
No.
To then
No, he didn't have as much.
come back a year later
Yeah.
and go, she wrote.
Well done. Yeah.
To the 20, to the 25.
Touchdown.
To the 40 and out of bounds at the 40. All right, 913-333-810-810. Let's get into the categories here on the sports side. College Royals in Omaha. College Royals in Omaha. These are Royals players that played in the College World Series.
I know one of them.
I know 7 of them.
Good for you.
Even more, actually. But I know of 7 of them that I made questions about. We have also a few questions left over from Royals debuts. And still left over from a couple of weeks ago of Moose Dongs.
Nice.
Yep.
Beefy.
Curtis, what's that?
Beefy Dongs.
That's right. That's on the sports side. What about on the leisure side? Sterling.
We have
Yep.
Potpourri.
All right.
Otherwise known as Potpourri.
Potpourri.
We have Yacht Rock. So if you like Yacht Rock and you know Yacht Rock bands, this is hard if you don't know Yacht Rock, but if you like Yacht Rock, you should probably get these.
You know, you wanted to enjoy some pool and a little Yacht Rock tonight, didn't you?
As the goal.
You can't. I mean, you're working, but you wanted to.
I wanted to. Maybe next time I'll get the little box and head down
That's
to
fine.
the pool, and I'll
Yes.
do the show from there.
Right.
I'll just call in.
Should do that tomorrow.
Well, is that okay, Dylan?
Just Yacht Rock in the background?
No, it's not.
Oh, dang.
All right. Well,
I got to be the
bear of bad news.
Oh, gotta be the.
All right, Yacht Rock,
Bring everybody
Potpourri,
back. I gotta
and
be the parent.
sports nicknames. Sports nicknames is the third one.
I gotta be the responsible one around here. You guys can't have fun. Fun, please. Keep having fun. I'm gonna take you to fun jail. We'll give you a fun ticket. Okay? What were your categories again? I forgot.
Yeah, I know. That's
I was not
fine.
listening.
Sports nicknames, yacht rock, and potpourri.
Okay, great. Sports and nicknames was the one that I did not hear at the end because I was doing the fun. We're going to send you off to fun prison and take you on a fun ride down to the Fun County Jail. We're going to have some fun. 913-3810810. Those are the categories. That's how you play. By the way, I should let you know that if you have not heard it before, when a question is answered incorrectly, we do not give out the right answer. We give out the right answer when somebody has guessed correctly, or we have simply run out of time to play. So if someone knows the answer, that question is not wasted for them, that it's like, oh, man, now I got to get a brand new one. We sort of help you along the line. We hold your hand to the $25. Like we all get out of the car together. That
is correct.
Sometimes there's traffic in the parking lot. We hold hands to go inside to Johnny's Tavern. That's what happens. All right, I'm ready to go. Sterling, you ready to play?
Yes, I am.
Dylan, what say you? Interns? Oh, they got thumbs up. Okay.
Saw a couple thumbs.
Mimes. They were in a box, pulling the rope. All right.
Yeah.
Let's go to the phone lines, and we bring in, leading us off here on a Thursday, is Jerry for Sports or Leisure. Jerry, what side would you like to start with, sir? Sports side or the leisure side?
I'll try the sports side.
All right, College Royals in Omaha, or we have Royals debuts, or you know what, you can ask for a moose dong.
How about the Royals debuts?
Okay,
And
Royals.
the older the better.
Older the better. I don't have the older the better available. The oldest one I have is one that I think is the toughest one, but it's not necessarily 70s or 80s.
Okay.
I'll tell you it's
I'll
90s.
go with the easiest one.
One of the easiest ones. Let's see.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? It's recent, so how much you've watched this year. Caglione is one of 6 players to make their Major League Baseball debuts this year. Can you give me 3 of the other 5?
On the Royals roster?
On the Royals roster this year, Caglione is one of 6 players on the Royals this year. They don't have to currently be on the Royals roster, although 3 of them are. They don't have to currently be on the Royals roster, but 6 players have made their Major League debuts this year in a Royals uniform. Can you give me 3 of the other 5?
A debut in a Royals uniform.
Yep, this year.
Okay, how about Jonathan India?
No. Sorry, a Major League Baseball debut totally. And like Jack Caglione has made his debut this year.
Same first name as that guy.
Oh, yeah, you're right. And he is on the team still.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, you're right. Not the same first name as Jack.
No, same first name as Jonathan.
India.
If you shortened it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How about Carlos Estevez?
No, because he's been in the league for a while.
He's in the league for a while.
Yep, Major League Baseball debut this year, just as Jack Caglione did. There are actually 6 players this year, Jack and 5 others.
One guy likes to party with the same first name as India.
Sterling's not happy with this guy because he got an RBI last night, and it ruined his Sterling stamp of the Royals winning 5-3. So, you know.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get it. I haven't, since they don't carry the Royals game.
That is unfortunate. That's a good point. That is unfortunate with this year. Jerry, thank you for trying, man. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Have a good weekend, brother. 913-381-0810 is the phone number. Want to make sure clear Major League Baseball debut totally this year with the Royals, but their Major League Baseball debut.
I thought my hint likes to party with the same first name as
No,
India.
yeah. I think people will.
I
think people
tasty.
will get the answer to that question. Let's go to Ryan next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Ryan, sports or leisure? What side do you want to start with?
Sports, please.
All right, we got College Royals in Omaha. We've got Royal debuts or
Royals debuts,
okay. You want that question?
Yeah.
All right. Besides Jack Caglione, can you give me 3 of the other 5?
Tolbert.
Yep.
Rave.
Yep.
Bolin.
That wasn't your final answer.
Wasn't your final answer, right?
You were just thinking of that guy, not that guy.
I was wondering about Bolin, but I was thinking that that's probably not the right one.
I'm glad you're just wondering out loud.
Yeah, you're just thinking out loud.
Right.
Yeah, just
I
let me know when you're
wonder
ready
out loud a lot.
Let me know when you're ready to give the right answer.
And it would be
See, I think
that other outfielder that can't hit.
Well,
I play second base.
No,
and his name is
not that guy.
Not that guy.
Not
either.
that guy.
But I was going to say the reason I had 3 is because I thought there was kind of an easier one since he's kind of been the main story of the rookies this year, not named Jack Caglione.
He's been the main story because his name is because he's an awesome left-handed pitcher, Cameron.
Yes, there you go. Yes.
Was Evan Sisk?
Evan Sisk, and then one more.
Okay, so that's 4. So Evan Sisk, I thought, was another one.
Ryan, you're already moving over to Leisure, but
you're
just
moving on. This
we're
is
seeing
this
if
is
Sterling can
for
get
me.
his.
Evan Sisk.
He's got the same last name of your favorite closer in baseball history.
Oh, Hoffman.
Andrew Hoffman.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That was a while
Exactly.
back. That would have been
why
tough.
I said don't name 5.
Yeah, that would have been tough. 4. I could have gone 4. But
yeah, you got the Evan Sisk is a good one. Nice job. But Jack Caglione, Noah Cameron, John Rave, Tyler Tolbert, Evan Sisk, and Andrew Hoffman are the 6 players that have made their major league debuts this year for the Royals. Over to Leisure with Sterling.
We have sports nicknames, Yacht Rock and Potpourri.
Nicknames, please.
All right, nicknames. You want baseball, football, basketball?
Baseball.
All right, baseball. Okay, the Iron Horse.
Lou Gehrig.
That is Lou Gehrig.
Good job.
The Iron Horse, yeah.
Nickname Bobby Baseball, sometimes called Junior. What are you going
That's
with?
a winner right there.
That is a winner. Ryan, we'll put you on hold, get your information. Congratulations, sir. Well done.
Thank you.
Absolutely. 913-381-810 is the phone number. 913-381-810 to the phone lines we go, and we bring in John next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. John, sports or leisure, what side would you like to start with, sir?
Let's go with leisure.
All right, we have nicknames, Yacht Rock and Potpourri.
How about Yacht Rock for $25?
All right, Yacht Rock for $25. How where's your Yacht Rock level at? You know, give
25.
Me easy, medium, hard.
I'm pretty good. I'm confident. So
okay, then
give me a tough one.
I'll give you the toughest one I have.
Oh, wow.
If you don't get it, I'll maybe give you a second one.
I don't know. We'll see.
I heard this song today for the first time since I was a kid, and I loved it.
Name the song. You heard it first time today since a kid. Name it.
Ride, Captain, Ride.
So,
what do they have to give you? The rest of the lyrics?
No,
or
give me the artist. Who sings Ride, Captain, Ride?
Oh.
All right, Captain Ride.
Yes.
This one is really hard. If you can't get it, I'll give you another one. But if someone gets this one,
yeah, it's like a sad picture.
I'm thinking something's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't quite.
Wait, did you actually know what it is? The song, Jason? Because a sad picture was an incredible hint.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Had you actually know this, or was that a guess?
No, I just Googled it real quick.
Oh, did you? Okay, I was going to say, wow, that would have been. I was about to be
chance I knew that.
Enamored by that.
Zero chance I would know.
Sad
that one.
picture is a very good guess.
The band.
I cannot think of it.
That's fine. I'll give you a different one. That was the hardest one by far.
Oh,
and
really?
No chance the intern got it without looking it up.
How do you know?
Yeah, you looked it up. There's zero chance. Yeah, Blues
okay.
Image. That band was Blues Image.
Why are you giving it away?
No one's gonna get that one. If he can't get it,
Christian got it.
He looked it up. Christian looked it up.
Did he look it up?
I didn't see.
Oh, he said I looked it
He
up.
literally, I can hear him through the glass saying, "I looked it up."
I appreciate the honesty there from the
I will give you
intern.
a
Let me speak to my client real quick, and we'll reconvene.
You get a different Yacht Rock song.
I plead the fifth.
Blues
All right?
Image.
You
Ride,
don't want to
Captain, Ride.
self-incriminate. I bleed the fifth. So it's Blues Image. That's a sad picture.
Okay.
Blue Image.
This
Anyway.
is it. Meet me halfway.
Is that the name of the song?
Yeah, there's 2 songs. This is it, or Meet Me Halfway. He was huge. He had a lot of other popular songs that were slightly harder. One of his songs, actually, pretty close to the name of this show.
The Zone?
Kenny Loggins?
It is Kenny Loggins.
There you go.
Yeah.
What are we doing around Kenny Loggins?
This is it and Meet Me Halfway are great Yacht Rock songs by K-Log.
No, I'm just wondering, what are we doing around Kenny Loggins? Are we getting into that territory?
We're getting into
right.
the danger zone. We're getting into Kenny Loggins.
We're getting into Kenny Loggins. On to the sports side, sir. We've got College Royals in Omaha. We have A couple Royal debuts left, and then we also have, there are 2 Moose Dongs that you can choose between if you want a Moose Dong. But they might be a little more.
Dongs.
Might be a little tougher.
Let's do the Royal debut.
Royal debut, okay. I'll give you the easier of the 2 remaining. This Royals player made his Major League debut while throwing a gym. He would take a no-hitter into the 7th inning, going 6 1/3 innings without allowing a run. Which Royals rookie made his debut?
Is that the previously mentioned Noah Cameron?
It is, yeah. Like I said, it was the easier of the 2 remaining.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, it just happened to be that we had like 8 Royals debut questions, and 2 of the 3 that were left both included Noah Cameron. It's just how it happened.
Well, it didn't have to include Noah Cameron because it could have been Evan Sisk, Andrew Hoffman, and
Tyler Tolbert,
which would have been an incredible pull.
That would have been really good. But instead, it is also Noah Cameron, and that is correct. John, we'll put you on hold and get your information. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. There you go. No Blues image for him. He is heading to Johnny's Tavern. Am I right?
Yeah, I thought it was too hard. I knew when I put it down that no one was going to get that one, and that was a bad joke. I thought we'd just gloss over it. So,
would you say meet me halfway if you're going to Johnny's Tavern?
I'd meet you halfway. I'd say this is it.
Well, when you get there, you're like, yeah, this is it right here.
Yeah,
this is it. This is Johnny's Tavern. This is it. This is it. And as Dylan hands you the gift card, he's like, hey, this is it. This is the gift card.
As I'm ripping a couple shots, I'll go,
maybe
you're entering the danger zone.
Maybe you do that. All right, 913-381-810. Let's go to Tim next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Tim, sports or leisure, what side do you want to start with?
Leisure, please.
We have sports nicknames, yacht rock, and potpourri.
Well, I can't disappoint my uncle, so it's yacht rock.
All right. Yes.
Love it. All right, we'll go with Summer Breeze, Diamond Girl. 2 songs by the...
Seals and Croft.
Yes, Seals and Croft.
Nice
I figured
job,
I had to
man.
give 2 songs for a band that has, or I guess 2 guys that 2 names.
It's where my wife and I got our furniture from. Seals and Croft.
Seals and Croft.
Isn't that a store? I'm not sure. Sounds like it to me.
Outside.
If you'd have said name.
You should have said your wife's a Diamond Girl.
What is Seals and Croft? Oh, isn't that where don't they have a furniture store? Isn't that like Seals and Croft? Did like a J.C. Penney?
You could have said your wife was your Diamond Girl, and instead you went with the furniture store. Come on, Jason.
Because I went with Seals and Croft. That sounds like, or a law firm. Seals and Croft. All right, to the sports side we go. We got 1 Royal debut left. It's a tough one. We also have 2 Moose Dongs left. I don't know if they're tough or easy. And then we have college Royals in Omaha.
I bet they're hard.
Could be.
What's the middle category?
Moose Dongs. These are questions that are
Beefy
from
dongs.
Could be hard, could be soft.
About Moustakis.
There's songs about moose?
Well, they're questions about Moustakis.
Oh, okay.
That's why we call them Moose Dongs, because he would hit Moose Dongs.
Oh, okay.
And it's fun.
I'll take that one on.
All right, you'll take a Moose Dong. Fantastic.
We'll take it on.
Let's see. Mike Moustakis was drafted with the 2nd overall pick in his Major League Baseball draft. Can you tell me who went number 1? I know. That's a tough dong. Yep, that's a difficult one. But he was the number 1 overall pick.
What year? 10 or 11? Or what year was that?
I have an idea, but I want to look it up so I don't feel like that big an idiot.
I don't know.
I mean, you can look it up all you want. You're probably still going to feel like an idiot, Sterling. I'm just saying if you want to go that route. No, he was drafted in 2007.
Yeah.
7. Oh, yeah.
2007.
We'll narrow it down. Pitcher.
A pitcher?
Pitcher that pitched against the Royals
Yes,
a
he did.
lot in his career.
And in the playoffs.
Did he
kind of dominate us?
He was traded for to dominate the Royals. But I believe, was his start the one where Joey Bats and the second baseman got confused in short right on the Zobrist little blooper? I think he was pitching that inning, right?
So you're saying it might have been wrong and not right?
Yeah.
The cost.
I see.
The cost was wrong, not right.
Yep. I think he pitched that game and was dominating that game. And then Zobrist got the little blooper, and then they got another hit, and then Hosmer hit the one into left center.
He pitched twice and dominated
Yeah.
both of them, really. I mean, not dominated. The second one he didn't, but he really didn't give up a lot of runs in
Here,
either at all.
I'll give
But
you.
he was awesome in that game till Zobrist put that little duck snort in there.
I think I know who you were thinking of. It is a left-handed pitcher, but no, it is not Madison Bumgarner.
Oh yeah, no.
Okay.
It's the same draft, by the way. Bumgarner was drafted 10th overall that draft. Same
Interesting.
draft,
Good
left-handed
call.
pitcher, but not Madison Bumgarner because I think that was the way that was what you were thinking. So I wanted to make
Okay, so when Zobrist, that was in the World Series game?
That was ended up being the ALCS of 15.
Oh, a championship series. Okay.
And I believe that pitcher was traded for that year, right? He was a deadline trade, which I wasn't a fan of because I'm like, crap. Crap.
This guy actually was the
You know what, that
AL
guy on that
ERA
team?
leader in that particular season.
Yeah, crap.
In 2015, this guy was 5-time All-Star. He won a Cy Young.
So he's a Blue Jay.
Mm-hmm. Well, he was.
But he also played for 5 teams, and the Blue Jays may have been his. It's funny, he had maybe his best year, one of the least memorable stops for him.
Interesting. How about that?
Jeez.
Did he play in the College World Series?
He won the Golden Spikes Award, so.
Yeah. Trying to see, because he played on a team in college that is always in the, certainly, regionals, super regionals, College World Series. They were expected to be in the College World Series this year. Didn't make it. Big upset.
Love cowbells.
No, that's a different one.
Yay.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
I'm drawing a blank. I can't even.
That's all right. You want to throw a dart here?
Yeah, that's my only choice, I guess. Let's see.
The cost was wrong to acquire him. Not right. Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's fine. Yeah, that's okay.
Data right. No.
No.
Who do you say?
Nope. He said David Wright.
No, it's close though. No, it's a pitcher, left-handed pitcher.
Yeah.
Same first name, by the way. Actually,
It's
wow.
close. It's close.
David Wright, same first name.
Yeah, right. Want to throw a dart? All right. 3, 2, and 1. Throw a dart. Boom. Go. Yep. 3, 2, and 1. Yep. Countdown again. Oh, he was fouled. 3, 2, and 1. Throw a dart.
I'll count down.
We already did it.
5.
Nope. We did it. You got to say a name. Because then we'll put you on hold at the after 1. We'll put you on hold.
2.
And 1.
1.
Go. All right, Tim, thank you for playing, man. I appreciate it, brother. 913-381-810. That question is out there available for someone to call in and request. We're playing sports or leisure. We continue rolling. If you're on hold, first up, first on, 913-381-810. More Zone next.
Take the show with you by listening live on 810 WHB.
look back to 2007 because I'm like, dang, Vandy didn't make the College World Series that year with David Price in 07.
What the bleep, Jason?
Next person that was going to call in and ask for it anyway. Let's just get to it. Nick, sports or leisure, Nick? Sports or leisure, Nick?
I guess I'll take the David Price question.
Yeah, you can have the David Price question. Were you calling in for that one anyway? Yes, you were. Well done. You were going to have it.
I was.
That's fine. Anyway, as I was saying.
Oh, right when you said it, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
so I guess he's giving him Vanderbilt as a hint.
Yeah, clearly. And David Price is a hint as well. David Price was taken number 1 overall ahead
That's
of Mike
why I said the
Moustakas.
cost was not right. It
I
was
get
wrong.
Yeah, I know.
The Price.
Yeah. Moustakas drafted number 2 overall in his draft. Who went number 1 was David Price. That break, I was doing so much research in the break that I completely forgot that we didn't get a right answer, and I was just sort of curious as to what happened with David Price in his junior year there at Vandy. They were the number 1 overall seed. Vandy, the number 1 seed, kind of like this year. Number 1 seed. Michigan was in their region. And they lost the regional championship series to Michigan in the 10th inning, 4-3. And because of that, Oregon State got to host the Super Regionals instead of Oregon State heading to Vandy. So Oregon State hosting the Super Regionals beat Michigan. Oregon State won the College World Series that year. So what I'm saying is that clearly Vanderbilt would have won the College World Series. They've won 2. They're fine. All right, on to leisure for Nick after getting that really tough David Price question with no hints whatsoever and just knowing it off the top of his head. Leisure with Sterling.
Potpourri, yacht rock, and sports nicknames.
We'll go with sports nicknames.
All right, let me tell you the answer first.
All right, so we have a fighter, we have basketball, or we have one football.
Let's do basketball.
All right, basketball. This is one of my favorite ones.
Oh, good.
Actually, I'll ask you. Do you want newer, 2000s-ish?
We have like subcategories
or
now?
old?
Newer.
You want guys with the first name of John or the first name of Roger?
Newer, Slim Reaper.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I mean, that's... Yeah.
The Slim Reaper. He's in the news.
Yeah, I ain't even giving hints.
Oh.
I can't give many hints.
Yeah, come on.
Did he go to Texas by chance?
I mean, no hints from us.
But probably.
Kevin Durant.
You just
Kevin
said no
Durant.
hints.
I just said probably.
Well, I guess, is it a hint if you're answering his question?
Yeah, I
That's
didn't
a
even.
good point. It's
yeah.
not like you said he went to Texas.
Yeah.
So did he go to Texas and you just said yes?
Correct. The Slim Reaper
Yes.
is
KD.
KD. Durantula.
Durantula, yes. He is. That is correct as well. That was, you know what, Nick? Well done. Those were 2 really difficult ones that you got. You knocked out of the park, and nobody gave you any tips or helps or hints along the way. So
Especially the first one.
exactly. Put you on hold and get your information. Well done, Nick. Nice job. Sometimes it's about timing in life, you know? And whoever was next in line on that one was going to have this dummy give you the backstory of that number 1 pick before actually getting the answer to it. Let's go to Ryan next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Ryan, sports or leisure, what side do you want to start with?
Let's go with sports.
All right, we have 1 Royal debut left. We have 1 Moose Dong left, and we have College Royals in Omaha.
Let's do College Royals.
Thank you for that. I don't remember if I think we did ask that one not last week, maybe 2 weeks ago when we had it. So let's go with this one. This man was already selected by the Royals when he played in the 2005 World Series. He stormed through the minor leagues, but his career didn't take off the way people had hoped. A position change and later on a ring helped him get to where he now wears a powder blue Royals Hall of Fame jacket.
Would that be Alex Gordon?
Alex Gordon, correct, as he led Nebraska to the College World Series in 2005. I always thought it was crazy when we'd be watching the College World Series and seeing players that have already been drafted by different teams.
Yeah.
Like, we watched that College World Series, like as Royals fans in 05, watching Alex Gordon in Nebraska.
And it made you more excited for Gordon.
100%. It made me watch the Nebraska games. Like, I
Yeah.
watched the Nebraska games because Alex Gordon was going to be batting and playing.
If you actually, that might grow the College World Series. That probably actually helped because if
it
you're
might have,
watching
yeah.
your first-round draft pick, you're like, oh, I
Yeah.
want to see what he does.
Right, and then you're yelling at the coach because your first-round draft pick pitcher is now pitching his 145th pitch of the day. Like, stop it! Over to leisure with Sterling.
Sports nicknames, Yacht Rock and Potpourri.
do nicknames.
All right, sports nicknames. We have one football, basketball, or fighting.
Basketball.
This is again one of my favorite nicknames. Skip to the loo. Skip to my loo.
Skip to your loo or skip to my loo?
Skip to the loo.
Which loo are we skipping to?
Skip to my loo. Because he used to skip bringing the ball up the court when he played on the N1 tour.
Skip.
Before he went to the NBA.
Skip.
I believe
Rafer Alston.
Yeah, Rafer Alston, man. I used to love that guy. I think he's the only N1 player to really make it in the NBA.
Was Skip the only one? Maybe. We'll put you on hold anyway, Ryan, and get your information. Congratulations, sir. Well done. Well
Thank you very
done.
much.
Look at that. Another winner. There you go. I thought there were other players that had made it that far, but who knows? But yeah, Rafer Alston definitely.
Great nickname.
Yeah, Skip and Low. It was really cool. All right, we go to, let's see who's next up, and that is going to be Brett next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Brett, sports or leisure, what side would you like to start with?
Let's do the leisure side.
Sports nicknames, yacht rock or potpourri?
Let's do the nicknames. What do you get left on that side?
We have fighting, a couple basketball, and one football.
Does fighting mean boxing or MMA?
MMA.
Good question.
I just wanted to do all-encompassing.
Yeah, that's
I could do the boxing, not the MMA. So let's go football.
All right, football, Broadway.
Broadway Joe, like Joe Namath.
Like Joe Namath. Yeah, I couldn't say Broadway Joe because then that really gives it away. But yes, Joe Cool.
Could
Who's
be Joe
cool?
Could
Yeah,
be,
Broadway
could be
Joe
Joe
Namath.
Cool, right?
He was not struggling.
That's right. Boxing.
He didn't want to kiss you.
He did want to kiss me though.
Boxing.
Yeah!
The Louisville Lip.
Well, that would be Muhammad Ali.
Of course, the greatest. That's right. That was just leisure, right? We still got a sports one, or did you ever get a
Correct.
sports one? Okay. Let's go to which that could have been a sports one too, but that was just leisure. We have one Moose Dong remaining. We have one Royal debut, and we've got College Royals in Omaha. By the way, the Royal debut is tough. I will let you know that.
All right.
It's the last one available. Usually the last one that's left in a category is the one that I've been avoiding because it's the most difficult.
Or
one.
waiting to give to Avery.
That's exactly right. Yes.
All right. Well, then let's do the Moose Dong then.
All right, let's do a Moose Dong here. What team? At least you have a fighter's chance in guessing. What team did Moose set the single game Royals franchise record with 9 RBIs in one game against?
Oh, jeez.
Grand slam, 3-run home run, and then also added a 2-run single.
That's tough. Jason, that's a tough question.
It's a complete dart.
Should we know this?
Well, I mean, again, it's the last of the Moose Dong category. And it is significant for him in his career that he holds the record for the most RBIs in one game.
Can
And
we say that Jeremy Guthrie would say that this team ain't royal? That's boy. That was
I
quite
mean,
a hint.
you could say
Wow.
that. You could say that. I wouldn't give a hint like that away.
Yeah, that's on me. As I'm saying it, I'm like, boy, this is
Man,
almost
that
leading
is
him right there.
Well,
let me just say,
you led me to water.
even this team
Wasn't even thirsty.
even the anemic offense of this team was able to look like Murderers Row when they played against this team in that stadium.
Jeez. I mean, I'm going down the path of the White Sox.
They've played him a couple times. They've played him a couple times.
Did
in the
you hear
playoffs.
Dylan's hint?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
Sorry.
good.
Oh, okay.
That's better.
They've played him a couple times in the playoffs. In fact, Moose played against this team in the playoffs.
Yes.
Other Royals
we played
players.
him- Played
players.
him a couple times in the playoffs.
Well, Moose
Correct.
played him once. Moose played him once, but the Royals have played him a couple times in the playoffs.
Well, recently that would sound like the Orioles.
That
Well,
sure sounds like
I mean,
it, huh?
it's just whatever you want to sound it out to be.
I'll go Baltimore.
Well done. See, I knew you had a puncher's chance, just getting it right just by throwing a dart. Yes, it was the Orioles. What Dylan said was Jeremy Guthrie would say this team ain't royal. And that was
if you come for the king, you better.
These O's ain't royal.
Yep.
The shirt that he wore, these O's, which really endeared him to the Baltimore Orioles fans, in which he had pitched there before.
Yes,
So
it played,
that's right.
And your good friend Jason Lockenfora, right?
That's right. That's right. He was, and you know what? Big fan of the Royals, by the way. You know what? Here's what I wonder: does Lockenfora hate the Royals or the Orioles front office more right now?
Good call.
I think it's the Orioles front office.
Nah, he can't say anything bad about Baltimore teams. It'd definitely still be the Royals.
He destroys the Orioles front
he
office
did?
on a daily basis.
Oh, that's right.
He tweets about him, Mike Elias, almost daily about what a joke. Clown front office, constant. He cannot stand that front office. I think it's because he loves the Orioles so much. But I think it's the Orioles front office that he hates more than the Royals right now. I think that's what it is. Brett, we'll put you on hold and get your information. Congratulations, sir. Well done.
You guys are great. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Yes, Johnny's Tavern, $25 heading Brett's way.
He's basically saying the Orioles need to come from a place of love. Isn't it amazing?
I don't know that he's saying that.
Not from hate.
Not
but from love.
There's been a lot of people around here that have said some very emotionally charged things about front offices and things like that. But yes, Lockenfora, not happy, as are Orioles fans with what's going on in the front office.
You could say those O's ain't royal.
That's right, because they have not won a World Series in 2015. They did not make it past the wild card round last year, and they did not make it past the divisional round, the championship game, or win the pennant in 2014. So they really weren't royal.
No, they were
in
not.
either of those.
No.
The Royals were the ones that were royal in that. But I do understand why Orioles fans would be as frustrated with the front office as they are, because you go through the rebuild and the tanking to collect the assets, and you haven't translated that into a playoff
They're the
win.
Sixers.
Yeah.
They're the Sixers of baseball.
Yeah, if the Sixers would have been a team that would host playoff games and not win.
Well, they did when Kawhi Leonard ripped their hearts out.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. That's a good call.
That one sucked.
That's a good call. Yep.
That shot is the single reason why I might be the only man, Sterling too, when Tyrese's Knicks buzzer beater hit the back iron.
Oh, yeah.
I was waiting for the entire shot to fall to the floor because I did
the
that.
Kawhi stayed up there for a
Kawhi.
while.
Kawhi's never got above the rim. I don't know how. My mind is blown.
Kawhi's like rattled around and everything.
He just threw it at the front of the rim and it somehow goes over. He put topspin on the ball. I am perplexed by that.
Not easy to do. Not easy to make a 20-footer with topspin in basketball.
I have no idea. It made no sense. It was.
Typically backspin is what you get with that.
I'm not angry. Please don't put in the newspaper I was angry.
You don't sound angry at all. Not at all. We're going to come back and continue with a very calm Sterling Holmes. halfway to the end of the show, Sterling.
I'll meet you.
Meet me halfway. Meet me halfway!
Dude, I can always get down to some K-Log.
So I hear this song, and my brother texted me and is absolutely right. I hear this song, and it reminds me of only one thing, and that is the movie Over the Top. With Sylvester Stallone, when you got the hat turned around backwards, the trucker hat turned around backwards, and you're arm wrestling to try to get your son back.
Which typically happens. That's how it happens.
That's the traditional way of how you try to get your son back is to arm wrestle.
The only well, there's two ways. That way and the I have a certain set of skills. Or is that for your daughter?
That was the daughter.
That was the daughter. So
and that's when
son, you arm wrestle.
Sort of kidnapped, you know. But yeah, Michael Hawk, Sylvester Stallone as Lincoln Hawk. A great movie, man. Such an awesome movie.
You know, if Kenny Loggins is in the soundtrack.
In the what? Soundtrack?
It's going to be a good movie.
If he's in the score?
If he's in the score, it's going to be a good... Name a movie that Kenny Loggins' song is played in that's not good.
Well, yeah.
Dirty Dancing.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yep.
Top Gun.
Right.
Great.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Do you think... Look, you want the fatherly figure in your life, and obviously they had a decent relationship after you started traveling.
Sorry, Footloose I meant. Footloose, of course.
After you started traveling with your estranged father in his big semi-truck, and he's going around and arm wrestling and heading to win this championship, do you choose to then live with him that's sort of trying to make it paycheck to paycheck, or your incredibly wealthy grandfather because your mom has fallen ill, but your incredibly wealthy grandfather wants custody, and then, you find your dad who's just, trying to make it. What do you do then? You know what I mean? You got this money that's waiting for you, but you also have your relationship with your dad that is now reemerging. What a Sophie's choice for Michael Hawk.
I'm all right. Caddyshack.
Okay.
Caddyshack, great movie.
Okay.
I'm just saying, I mean, Footloose.
Yeah.
Boom. A Star is Born.
Yeah.
What a Fool Believes. I don't know, was that in a movie or not?
No, that's just simply when...
It's a great song with the Doobie Brothers.
People think that Mahomes isn't the best in the NFL.
Ah, there you go.
That's what it is. That's what it's about, right?
Nails.
Isn't that what that song's about? I thought it was. You know what we're about. Done here on this Thursday, handing it over to the program. And tonight, Game 6 NBA Finals right here on your home for the NBA Championship. The Finals right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Enjoy the rest of the day right here on 810.